if like they have to be,
Their
regimented
personality
in
goes out the
years.
window
Yeah,
the
it goes out
second
the
you're
window and it's
hit.
like it kind of sucks.
Yeah,
So,
it does. No, so we
um,
hit live just now. So welcome back, everybody, to the Perry Punch Show. We got our special guest today. I am Saturday. I forgot to ask you beforehand though. You like I am Saturday? You like Joseph? Joe?
just go Joe. Yeah, definitely
Joe?
not
Okay,
Joseph.
for
That's
sure.
only for my mother, dude.
All right. So yeah, Joe. But a lot of people might know him as I am Saturday. So
Yes,
MTK's
sir.
out this week. He's traveling on vacation. I've been seeing Joe kind of like pumping out content a lot on Twitter. I think he got a YouTube channel as well. Um,
Yeah, so no YouTube channel. I do have a YouTube channel. Haven't posted anything there, but I
yeah,
usually just I like to, show support to other people in the industry and subscribe when I can. I'll hop on lives every once in a while and throw some comments in there, but yeah, strictly Twitter. I mean, a weird kind of. Do you mind if I just go into like a little
yeah.
background as
Let
to how
us
I
know
got in
like
space?
if you're about to let me know like how you got started with Twitter.
Yeah, so
Yeah, let me know.
realistically, like, I mean, it kind of just stemmed from like, um, so originally I love gambling, like total gambling
I notice
degenerate.
a
Do you
lot of
gamble
betting
at all or
stuff.
no?
I used to bet a lot, but right now like I'm trying to get my bread up more so that I can like gamble. You feel me? It's
Yeah,
like a bad
definitely.
financial decision to be like betting right
100%.
now with my finances on a month to month basis.
No, dude, that's smart. That's
Yeah,
smart.
but
And
I used to bet a lot. Like
yeah,
25 unit or $25 a unit or something like that. Nothing crazy.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I essentially like, dude, ended up the ESPN era fan, so I didn't even know that fight nights were a thing. I always thought like the UFC only did pay-per-view models, and
Oh wow.
it's kind of just like JV up until the ESPN deal in 2019. First card
Hmm.
I ever watched was like Cejudo versus Dillashaw. I don't know if you remember that. When did you start watching?
Bro, I've been a fan forever. Like since I was a
Really?
kid. I don't know why. I always loved this shit.
Yeah.
Probably since like Anderson Silva days. Like probably
Okay.
like I was probably a sophomore in high school when I was watching it.
Got you. I
Yeah.
remember being like still to this day, it sounds so cliche, but like Connor's my favorite fighter of all time. And I remember
Yeah, me too.
The Connor come up just because it's like seeped into real world sports. Like all I used to watch was whatever the baseballs and basketballs and NFLs of the world, right?
Yeah.
And then like the Connor come up came around, I would watch all the Connor pay-per-views, and then 2019 rolled around, UFC signs the ESPN deal and this free like fight night card came on. It was Cejudo versus Dillashaw. Anyone that's ever watched it, like Dillashaw drops down, like emaciates himself to 125, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden, I was just like the whole thing blew my mind, and I could get like all these free whatever cards for whatever $5 a month, and uh, and obviously like very fueled by gambling. It's just like
Yeah.
it's the best sport to gamble on if you have like ADHD and you just like want the next thing to gamble on, right? So
Right.
great DGen sport
Does
and
the
either way, so I
like the
good.
individual betting because what gravitated me a lot towards betting and maybe even grew my fandom with the UFC was the fact that you could bet more on individuals, right, versus like teams. Like,
100%.
did you
Like you
like
got to
that
bet
aspect?
100%. It's the number one reason I gamble. That's crazy that you said this. Number one reason I
Yeah.
bet on UFC because you don't have to bet on the cohesion of 11 separate people whose injuries you don't know about, whose whatever coaching strategies you don't really necessarily need to
Injuries and
take into
shit like
consideration.
that.
Injuries, like there's a ton that goes into team sports, and
Hmm.
eventually it was like that's kind of like what fueled my I don't know, entrance into like focusing specifically on UFC gambling. And so whenever I start like watching in 2019, hyper obsessed, and I'm dog shit at gambling. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Like I'm so bad at it.
It's
And then
tough though. It's tough, huh?
yeah,
With
it's
all
so
that being
hard, dude.
said,
Still so hard. Never have I tried something like so inherently like put forth full blown effort and been so bad at it. Like still now in 2025, like I'm
I
a
see some
god.
of your posts where it's like a fucking 0-6 and you come on,
Oh
you're
my
like,
god, dude.
boys,
It's just
boys, I'm
like
sorry.
you gotta own it though, like right?
Yeah.
Like I think yeah, I think I have a pretty innate ability to kind of zoom out at times and be like, all right, we'll figure this out. Like and eventually it'll get itself worked out. But
How much you be
yeah, so I
dropping
just
per
started.
unit? Sorry to keep cutting you off. You can, but yeah, let
No,
me know that and
all
then
good.
continue what you want to say.
Yeah, so I ended up like just I'm super hyper like disciplined during the week. Like I have a very regimented like schedule that I follow for everything in terms of like when I go to bed, like what I eat, everything, right?
Hell
And
yeah.
so
I love it.
one of them I added in there taking notes on every single UFC fight. So now I
Mm.
have like this running Excel doc of like every single fight that has taken place over the last since like October of 2021 is when I started.
Hmm.
And so like every single fight, like from the perspective of each individual fighter, I started taking like notes on in order to try to get better at gambling. And I was just like, dude, I've just got progressively fucking worse. I'm like, it has not paid dividends whatsoever.
You think you're
And but
overthinking it or something?
I don't know if I'm overthinking it or what, but like I love it still. And this year, 2025 was the first time I publicly tracked bets. And then but in 2023, that was the best year I ever had. I went profitable and then started making content in 2024. I was like, all right, let's bring this to the masses. Like, kind of did like maybe just under even in 2024, and then I was like, all right, let's like no shit start tracking these on Bet MMA tips,
Hmm.
and then took a dive during like September. It was like my worst gambling month ever, and have just like recently come out of the pits of hell. So
Yeah, I
like
think the
whatever.
last couple weeks haven't been bad, right? Have you made any money?
Yeah, dude. Well, I was probably like the only dude on Twitter all over Brendan Allen. Like I gave out Brendan Allen like it was. I thought that line was asinine, dude. I thought it was
Hmm.
absurd, made no sense
Bro,
whatsoever.
Tapology 93, I think,
Crazy,
or
crazy. I saw it.
97% of people, yeah, they fucking picked him. You know how you could do
It
that on
makes no
Tapology,
sense.
right? Where people just click who
Yes,
they
yeah,
think is
yeah,
gonna win.
yeah. Same thing on DraftKings. I don't like. Is DraftKings legal in California?
It's only legal for prop bets. You can't do money lines, so a lot of people
Oh,
don't
what?
use it
Yeah,
here.
that's super weird. Yeah,
Like the
no, but
sports book
same
is illegal here.
in the state of California.
In the state of California, you can't use DraftKings Sportsbook like to actually
That's
bet.
yeah, that's so weird. Actually, funny story. We were talking about the fact that I was on the ship going back out of San Pedro,
Hmm.
in like whatever 2016, and I always used to, Hustler Casino in Compton.
Yeah, yeah,
I used
yeah.
to go there all the time, dude, and gamble with like these homeless dudes. There was always homeless dudes in there, and they would order
Hmm.
chicken Alfredo to the blackjack table. It was so weird, but like either way, I would always be there. And I remember gambling not being legal because you have to pay like a buy-in each time you play a hand of blackjack. So say you play like a $5 hand of blackjack, you have to pay 750, and 250 of that somehow goes to like the state, which allows it to
Oh, really?
illegal. Yeah, I don't know. It was super, super weird.
Yeah, they got
Probably.
weird stuff. Even out here, like I know you can't do dice, so a lot of like craps and stuff like that.
Yep.
They draw cards with
Yeah.
numbers on it instead of being able to roll the dice because no dice games are illegal. So the gambling's low key kind of whack out here.
Yeah, it's weird, dude. You would think like California would be the first state legalizing this stuff.
I know, right? But you got to go to
Yeah.
Nevada pretty much for that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
like the closest one for us. There's Indian reservations, but again, it's California shit. So unless you want real dice and stuff like that, you got to go to Nevada.
yeah, what is it like Pochanga or something?
Pachanga's a good
Pachanga.
one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you ever
Yeah.
been there?
Yeah, I've been there. I
It's supposed
watched
to be
like a fight
huge.
over there before.
Okay. Yeah, we just added like a big casino maybe like 5 years back in Boston called Encore.
Uh-huh.
So that has like a six sports book, but that's like the first big casino that's got placed in the Boston area, and it's gone wild, dude. It's a cool spot if you're ever in the area.
Okay. So yeah, you're from Boston, huh?
Yeah, I'm from Quincy, just south of Boston, but grew up in God's country, dude, New Hampshire, like middle of nowhere, super small town, like 3,000 people.
Okay. That's is that like New Hampshire is New Jersey or that's its own state or something like that?
Yeah, New Hampshire is like it's just north of Massachusetts. So like I
Okay.
grew up on the New Hampshire Massachusetts line, like and then it borders like Vermont and everything as well. So yeah, New England, like all the states are right on top of each other, dude. So
Mm.
it's very easy to drive to whatever. Like, dude, the first time we were kind of on the topic of casinos and gambling, but I remember being 16 years old. Like I used to go and play blackjack at 16, like 15, 16 years old because the only 18 plus casino I've ever heard of in my entire life is in Lincoln, Rhode Island.
Mm.
And it was like I used to walk in there and like smoke cigarettes and play blackjack at
They
16.
don't
Dude.
give a
It's like
fuck.
it's so weird, dude. Like so weird to think about. But yeah, all the states are right on top of each other, super easy to get to. So
What kind of
uh
town did you grow up in? Like city or suburb
no, dude,
area or
like
country?
hillbilly. Everyone owns a gun, like middle of
Oh,
nowhere,
okay.
like woods, dude. Deliverance, like crazy in the middle of nowhere. Super small community, awesome town. Love. I had like the greatest childhood ever. My dad was like my coach in all my sports, and just sick, like all American upbringing in like small town New Hampshire, dude. Everyone knows
Dope.
everyone. and then ended up in high school in Massachusetts. Another great experience. I did like a year of college in Roswell, New Mexico. Super weird. Like I have a weird story, dude. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
you did a lot. You for the people who are just joining or who didn't hear a conversation before we started, and then I'll read out some chats. So what up, boys? All the boys watching right now. But I was gonna say you served in the military, right, as well?
So yeah, I mean, I hate that terminology,
Just
but
kind of
yeah,
want to
I,
know
I
real quick
kind
or
of, so I
whatever.
was
Yeah, you
like,
didn't
I
even
was at
use
this,
that when you
yeah,
mentioned it to me earlier. It was kind of
it's,
like a roundabout way
yeah,
of telling me that.
it's a weird situation because I went to this school called the United States Merchant Marine Academy, and
Hmm.
so when you're there, you're in the Naval Reserve, and either way, so I ended up getting hurt there, broke my neck, crazy story, ended up paralyzed, still paralyzed, like fucking this
Wait, are you
whole,
really? So yeah, you said something like that. You're actually paralyzed.
swear to God, yeah, dude, go check my, I sent you
Okay,
my
when you said
Instagram.
that too, I thought you were
Yeah.
fucking like
No,
recovered for
dude.
some reason. That's why
Full
I didn't
blown.
say anything about
I'm
it.
taking this from a power wheelchair. Like broke my neck full blown. Like my hands don't work, dude. I can't
Damn, this
like.
is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, crazy. I told that. So, you know Brian Petrie, the guy
No.
that does the get he has MMA Takes podcast, but he does John Anik's podcast,
Okay.
Anik Florian. So it was like number one podcast that I listen to. I'm always tuned into that every single week, and he was the gambling guy on that, and ended up like I ended up reaching out to him. I was like, dude, 0.01% listener on Anik and Florian, like happy holidays, like keep up the work, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, dude, come on the show. I've been seeing the content. And then I went on like earlier this year and like told the story of how I got hurt. And it was like this whole crazy
Damn.
thing posted on Twitter. But yeah, I ended up paralyzed, dude. And
On John or the
no,
Anakin
on
Florian.
Brian Petrie's
Oh,
podcast,
okay, got you.
MMA Takes. Check it
Got
out,
you.
dude. He's great at what he does. Great
Is he a
content.
producer or how's he related to John Anik and
So like,
Florian?
so Anik and Florian essentially do like they open the show. They do like news topics. They bring on Ray Longo who coaches Aljamain Sterling and Marab,
Yeah, I'm
and
familiar with their show.
yeah, he's like a head
The
coach
Longo
at Ciryl
Minute.
Gane. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he does that, and then directly after that, they move into a gambling segment, and they bring on Brian, and he's like their gambling dude. Great
Got you.
dude, great dude.
Okay.
You guys should link up for a podcast at some point. He's unreal.
Okay, for sure. But yeah, you told the whole story there. So like what happened though exactly? Like
So,
how did that happen to you?
like, yeah, no, it's like whatever. I go to this school. Like I said, I end up in Roswell, New Mexico. I'm down there for like a year. It's the weirdest place you've ever been in your entire life. Like whatever. End up then in school in at the United States Merchant Marine Academy. It's brutal, like very hard curriculum, like
Hmm.
lifestyle regimen, whatever. And then end up going out to California, as I said, on this cargo ship. End up leaving, going back to school, and I wrap up my sophomore year. Well, I go out golfing my sophomore year as it wraps up golfing, seventh hole comes around. I'm in like a golf cart. My buddy and like kind of starts fooling around with the golf cart. We flip it. I end up
No.
going underneath it, break my neck, paralyzed, end up like at Long Island University Hospital, full blown, like can't move anything, can't move my arms, can't move nothing, dude. Like
Damn.
crazy. And then end up there for like a week. End up at Spalding in Charlestown, Massachusetts, and then from there I go to another hospital and I end up in the hospital for like 7 months.
Hmm.
Get out of the hospital, and then from there it's just like, well, what the fuck do you do? You're just like paralyzed at that point. So started exploring options like in the pits of hell, dude. Being paralyzed blows, especially like during the early portions of getting hurt.
How old were
And then
you when this happened by the way?
I was 20, 21,
21.
21 years.
Okay, cuz you told
Yeah,
me you're
yeah.
31 now. You just turned 31, right?
I'm turning 31 December. Yeah.
Okay,
So
got
I've
you.
been like, dude, this happened a decade ago. So it was like
Yeah,
I'm
but you're
getting to
still
it at this
young,
point.
which is crazy. So it indicates that it
Crazy,
happened
dude.
when you were younger than that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean 21 years old, dude. Just like so like young, dumb, and full of, testosterone for
Yeah,
like, terms, but like and just insane like at the time. But yeah, ended up and then from there kind of just explored options as to what I was gonna do. Like I was gonna finish my degree, but I hate school, dude. It's the number one reason I went to Kings Point, which is the name of the school that I went to. Because you go out to sea for a year and you don't have to be in a classroom. So, but I
yeah.
didn't want to finish my degree. I was like, I hate school, and then just ended up starting at the company that I'm at now, and eventually made my way into marketing, and rest is history. So it's
Yeah.
cool, dude. Like whatever, the big challenge, but it's taught me like so invaluable at this point at 30, dude. Really helps me like zoom out, puts things into perspective, and dude, like I would never want to live a life not having the perspective of not being injured, because it
Mm,
just
I
it
got you.
simplifies everything.
Yeah, I always fucking I'm a big proponent of just saying stuff like, bro, you got to be thankful just for being able to get up in the morning and do the
Easily,
things you want to do because other people are battling some tough ass shit. So my
easily,
respect to you
dude.
for that. Seems like you got your life kind of like dialed
Yeah.
after that incident.
Yeah,
A
I
lot of
know.
people would
It's
fucking, not be in the position you're in now,
100%. And that's what's sad about spinal cord injury, dude, is there's a lot of people that just kind of fold, dude, and come whatever recluse, and it sucks, dude. There's a lot of people that it really like mentally cripples them like
Mm,
bad, man. And it's sad stuff to see, but like, dude, for someone of my breed, I guess it's just like if it's not going to kill me, it's eventually going to make me stronger, and it's exactly what it did, dude. So
yeah,
I'm a proponent of like if you have struggles in your life, like lean into it and figure it the fuck out, dude. Like, because
right.
eventually it'll make you a better person. I think spinal cord injury has ultimately made me way better of a person, and more resilient, more better problem solving skills, everything. So
Yeah.
it's super weird perspective to have, but yeah,
No, but I'm glad to
crazy
hear you
story.
have that perspective for sure. How
Yeah.
long did it take for you to kind of like get to a decent kind of like living condition?
Yeah, so like, dude, like when I wish I could put into perspective, dude, but when I first got hurt, I
Hmm.
actually like I couldn't touch my nose, like couldn't feed myself. I had buddies like come to the hospital like literally spoon feeding me. It was
Mm,
crazy.
crazy.
They used to do like the airplane, like the
Yeah.
like just to mess with
Like
me.
you're 5 years old again or some shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then eventually, like as the way spinal cord injury works, you get hurt, and then all of a sudden your spinal cord is super swollen.
Hmm.
And as the swelling goes down, you get more and more function back, and then it's just
Mm,
like from there you kind of figure out what exactly is going to return in terms of function and what's not. And eventually I got to a point where I knew like what I was going to have, and then from there you just got to make that portion of it as strong as possible so you can be functional. And I couldn't drive, couldn't do anything like that at first. And now I live completely independently. It's just it sucks, it's hard,
hmm.
but it's just like figure it out. Like you could be miserable, you could be. I'm a firm believer that happiness is a choice, dude,
Hmm.
100%. And so if you're just going to be like this miserable victim, like you're never going to be happy. So eventually that was the hardest challenge I've ever had in my life. And I got it really young. It was like
Hmm.
forced adulthood. And the second I changed my perspective on things and had like this, life is a gift ideology, it just became way better. And, so yeah, anyone that's like really, I don't know how many people are tuned in right now, but if you're going through it,
Hmm.
dude, like I do believe happiness is a choice. So figure it out, like figure your struggles out. And I would highly suggest regiment, like discipline, physical fitness, eating healthy. Like there are tangible, like intangibles that you can control
I was gonna
that
ask you
help.
because like it's tough, right? Everybody kind of is finding their own happiness, especially in this crazy world. But you think like being regimented kind of helped you with that too a little bit?
100%. You'll never, and no one will ever have any success without like, in my opinion, like hyper discipline. I think it is the
Hmm.
number one key to any successful person. Is like you can be the most talented dude of all time, but if you're not a disciplined individual, it's just never ever going to pan out for you ever.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have short-term success.
Hmm.
It's just I don't know. That's
It'll
my
last you a
belief.
little bit, but that'll burn out, right? If you're not regimented. Like me, I'd be
You're
doing the
dude.
same
You'll
thing every day. Like if you check in with me today, you check in with me on Friday. Like it's the same shit. Like I did, like you know what I mean, till like 6 p.m. every
100%.
fucking day.
And that's like, dude, there's a method to the madness. There's a reason you have 75,000 followers or 50,000 followers on Instagram, or
Yeah.
you create great content, dude. It's because you never negotiate with like a discipline schedule or what needs to be accomplished. And if you can't do that across any industry, you'll never ever have success, period.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Gambling
sacrifice. You know,
works.
you gotta fucking put a ton of shit on the back burner, but
100%. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
I was
yeah,
also gonna say
crazy.
though, last thing, and then let's get into some of the topics. But just gonna add that the fact that you went through what you went through, it probably makes a lot of things in life easier too. You know what I mean?
Way easier, dude.
Cliche to say,
Problems.
but it's very true. I feel like because people will crumble over bullshit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
It's a great line.
Yeah.
Great line. People do crumble over bullshit, and you like you getting maybe like a new perception on what's bullshit and what's actually like really significantly hard
Yeah.
is something that like unless you go through serious struggle or like you're probably not going to have that
Perspective.
thank you, thank you. Perspective.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have that perspective. So I think like when I was younger, I would sweat like the smallest shit or freak out. That comes with youth,
Hmm.
too. But like as you mature, yeah, like specifically after going through something that's like traumatic, it does give you very valuable perspective. So super interesting, like weird
Yeah, my man,
existence
the
for me.
beautiful
But
link up. I would have never guessed because all the videos are in the car. So
Yeah, yeah. So
it's like an
I
yeah,
talk about it, dude, sometimes, but so I'm in the car, I drive with my hands.
yeah.
And that's why I essentially record in the car just because it's so easy for me. I have like this thing that props up my phone
Uh,
and as I said, my hands don't work. And I'm also, dude, I'm also just so busy. It's crazy. Like this is definitely a hobby at this point
mhm.
in my career. Just kind of has to take priority right now. So it's every single, as I said, like hyper disciplined every single Thursday coming home from work. I record a video, and every single Monday on the way to work, I record a video, and that's like I just stay committed to that.
It's been paying
So
off because I've been seeing like all the clips.
yeah, it's cool, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It ultimately kind of just, resulted from the unanswered texts and group chats. I used to be so fired up about fucking UFC. I'd be texting my boys and they'd be like, dude, this guy's got to like chill out about this fist fighting thing. Like, no one gives a fuck. And eventually I was
Yeah.
like, I got to, whatever, post to the public, see who cares,
Yeah. You're like, all right, fuck it. Like, I'm gonna just put this shit on the internet instead.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
let's see what comes of it.
Okay,
So,
so I was gonna ask you, I guess one good topic to kind of get into. I was gonna be like since you're kind of introducing yourself to the audience in a way, it's like, what kind of topics have been piquing your interest? But I saw one of the topics that's piquing your interest, the big one for today, the Paddy Pimblett thing.
dude, yeah, holy shit. Do you see it? I don't know how new that interview was with him. What are your thoughts? Like, do you think Gaethje should get that title fight?
So I've been a big proponent. Even before this, I've been like, dude, Gaethje with the title fight, like absolutely not. Fuck, I don't
Yeah.
want to cut this segment off real quick, but because it's a good flow. But let's just acknowledge the chat real quick. So what up, Scott? Scott says, let's go. What up, bro? I think he's saying what up to you because I teased that you're coming on last night. So some people are tuning in to kind of like meet
Cool.
you. So
Yeah,
I think
what's
he's
up,
saying
man?
what up to you. Yeah. Then we got Soda Poppy goes, ask him if I should take out a loan on my house and put it all on Jose Miguel Delgado. We're big fans of Jose Miguel Delgado over here.
Dude, he's a problem.
He's a
Delgado's
beast.
very good. I'm on Wood this weekend just for so I wouldn't say
Okay.
liquidate the assets. I think Wood's too much too soon.
Hmm.
But Delgado's way bigger
Yeah.
and carries way more power. Wood's a fat 35er, man, but he's very, very talented.
Hmm.
So I would never ever liquidate the assets or sell the house to fade Wood. He's just too good.
Okay.
But if you want to do it on someone, I would say do it on Hamdy fighting, Chris Barnett. I know that sounds like an asinine play, but just Chris Barnett's so bad at fighting and old and
Yeah.
broke,
It's
tore his
crazy though.
Achilles.
Watch Chris fucking get that win now that you said that.
Who is this?
Chris Barnett. Watch Chris Barnett get the win now that you said that.
Dude, yeah, that's exactly what will happen.
Because
I'll tell
that's
you
him,
that
right?
much.
I think he
You
had
know what I
another
mean?
win
Yeah.
like that where he's like the biggest underdog. But I feel
Right.
you. He is a huge underdog on this one. I was gonna
Yeah.
say though, what interests me because I did an interview with Jose Delgado after his last fight, and
Yeah.
he was like, "This is what I'm looking at in this matchup right here," because he was telling me like he wants to like move up quick, and I was like, "Hey, like." Hold up though a little bit. Like why? Like why you even like what's the rush? Like who's rushing you? Like you got
Yeah.
nothing but time. Like why are you pushing the envelope for yourself? And then he's like, I think I belong and shit like that. Like I wanna go show it. So like this is one where sometimes when a fighter gets a push, you almost are like, fuck, it's too much too soon for him. He probably thinks it too. This is one where like Jose's excited to potentially prove his worth to the organization. So let's see, he's been talking like he wants a big opportunity. He wanted like a ranking and shit like that.
Yeah.
So let's see if
Dude,
he's
fighter
kind of
like
like, because ignorance can be bliss. So let's kind of see how this performance plays out. But maybe his ignorance is kind of like, fuck it, like give me the big dogs. But let's see, it might actually pay off for him.
in the case of Jose Delgado, I just don't necessarily know if you can have any other attitude as a fighter.
Hmm.
Props to Jose Delgado. He might go on in this thing. That's the truth.
Yeah,
And I think he's 27. I don't know I forget his age, but I don't
he's
think he's
young.
left the first round in the UFC. He's finished every fight that he's won. Kid's a problem, dude. He's very, very good. And but when you're on, man, like when you're on, I would just hate to see someone as good as Nathaniel Wood and proven and who has like a long career in the UFC beat Delgado in like by decision this early in Delgado's career when Delgado, who's like on his first contract, could have maybe asked for someone that's like maybe like an older veteran or
So
something
that's
like that.
exactly what I explained to Delgado in the interview.
Yeah,
I was like, "What? Why
like
even do that? Why not wait for a second or third contract to want to fight a ranked opponent? The more tougher the opponent, the more you should technically be getting paid." I
yeah.
explained that to him, and he was like, "I don't give a fuck." But
Yeah, dude,
yeah,
which is
you're making
awesome.
good
Like
points.
that, you gotta
Yeah,
love that.
I
Yeah.
loved it. Yeah, especially if
And
he can
so
answer to that. But yeah,
The thing is he's not going to get paid more. He's probably on like a 12-12 contract right now. Like
Yeah,
he's
maybe the
probably going to
last
get the
fight on
same
the
pay.
deal.
Yeah, it's probably his last fight. I think all guys coming off Contender get a 3-fight deal, all 12 and 12, and then from there, I kind of get lost on where the pay like goes.
Yeah,
But man, dude, I'll say this: I think Delgado was on season 8 of Contender Series like
yeah,
last season. I was high on him coming off. He's huge for 45. Like he's a big dude. I think he's 5'11" maybe, and but I have a very high ceiling on Delgado. Did
yeah,
you talk to him after the Hyder Mill fight or what?
yeah. After the Hyder fight.
Dude. I bet Hyder in that,
Yeah, because
just
Hyder's
because like
good.
Hyder
A lot of
Hyder
people have respect on Hyder, and the
well Hyder
betters
was
like
coming off
Hyder.
of Hyder was coming off of the William Gomez fight where he ate the most insane shots, dude,
Hmm.
to the face. And I was like, okay, Delgado's smoking everyone. Maybe he folds in like a second round as like Hyder Mill puts the pace on him. And Delgado just straight removed him from consciousness. It was insane. It's hard not to have a ton of stock in Delgado right now. I'll say that.
Yeah. After this fight, though, like let's say he gets a win, I think this fight will say a lot about Delgado. I think this fight will say a
Easily.
lot about him.
Easily. Yeah.
And I like these fights because sometimes I like these fights more than a gimme fight because then I'm like, he's supposed to win, right? But when they win one where they're not supposed to win, or it's like a 50-50, I give them a lot more credit. You feel me? Because not even the opponent, but the pressure, the fact that you were able to come out on top with the pressure of the unknown. You know, when you go in and it's like, oh, I'm getting set up here, like nice, like I'm supposed to win. You know, it's like you're not feeling that fucking pressure of like, I don't know if I'm gonna win. And I think when a fighter can overcome that and come out victorious, it plays into the following fights, you know?
Easily, dude, 100%. And like you take a look at the beginning of the career for Paddy Pimblett. Like
Mm-hmm.
Paddy Pimblett comes in, he's fighting like Louis Benjamini, who are the fuck that is. Like,
Right.
right? He's been out of the promotion for forever, and then all the dudes he fights at the beginning are these kind of like cans, and
Mm-hmm.
it's because he built such a big social following in Cage Warriors. Like Delgado doesn't have that luxury. All
No.
respect to Delgado, but he's not Paddy Pimblett in terms of promotional material as of right now. The only way to get to that spot fast is beating credentialed guys, and
Definitely.
Nathaniel Wood's
Because
a
look at what
credentialed
happened
guy.
with
So
Patty. Everybody's like, he ain't beat nobody, and that's the problem. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You can give him a sexy name that's old, but the fan base is smart now. They're like, no, 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 he's old and shit like that. So I
exactly.
definitely like these matchups. Just to finish these chats, and then I haven't forgot, we're talking about Patty still. But Jew says, what up? I think he said 100% when we were talking about perspective and shit like that. So shout out Jew. Shout out Jew. Scott going, Aspinall by TKO round 2 is plus 450, boys. Any thoughts?
I tweeted this out earlier today. Aspinall hasn't fought past 3 minutes and 45 seconds since 2021,
Dude, it
dude.
makes it so hard to make educated
So
bets
hard.
on the man.
Yeah.
It's like he got the touch of
Yeah.
death or what? I guess after
Crazy,
this,
dude.
it might be
The
certified.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like the over, if you're gonna take the over, like the ideology here is just banking on like the shiftiness of
Mm,
Gon, who's really good at distance management. But fuck, like hard thing to take with Aspinall, who is putting guys in caskets, dude.
mm. And
So
he's got the grappling, which makes,
he's got the grappling,
it's
which
going to
it's
fuck
not
with
even remotely close.
Cyril's hands a little bit, you'd imagine.
Yeah, dude, if I'm in the corner of Aspinall, I do within the first 30 seconds, I shoot a double leg.
Hmm.
And everyone's kind of on this train that because you know how John Jones beat Gone in like a minute or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone's on this train that Aspinall needs to beat Gone in like a faster time than a minute. And I'm just like, first
These
off, that's an insane
expectations and
task.
these standards that like get
It's
put on
so
these
dumb.
guys
And
at
also,
times.
Aspinall's not thinking that. I don't think Aspinall's thinking that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But you're right. These standards that are being put on, even like I hear stuff about like when they get up high in the rankings, it's like, oh, but he didn't finish him. It's like, well, bro, like that's an elite fucking fighter.
I
Like we
know.
can't expect
I know.
finishes over because that's what was happening with DDP. Sorry, not DDP. That's what was happening with RDR, right?
Yep.
And Fluffy and this whole Imavov and who did Imavov just fight? Kaio, right?
He just fought Cal
So
for
there's
all, yeah.
people who are like, oh, if since Imavov didn't finish Kaio, right? If RDR can get a finish here, it's like, bro, you got like, are you kidding me? Like Kaio has not even barely lost in the UFC at all. I think that was his first loss, right?
He hasn't lost in the
He
UFC,
hadn't
dude. He
lost
was
in the
like
UFC.
he was
Like, who
like
cares if
eight
you
and zero
decision
in the
him?
UFC.
Who
He was
cares if you
on
decision
fire.
him?
Yeah,
Like, you
you
gotta
could beat
fucking
that
put him
guy.
out. Like, come on.
Imavov could have leg kicked Braulio for 5 rounds straight, and I would call it like insanely impressive, just based on the credentials of Braulio, dude.
Yeah.
There's 7 grown ass men that weigh 185 pounds that have not solved the Braulio equation in the
Right.
UFC, and then Imavov comes in and kind of schools them. Like if you don't find that impressive, you don't know enough about the sport. Like plain and simple,
Mm-hmm.
that's so impressive.
No, I feel you. I don't
Arguably
know
more
where these
impressive that
narratives
he
even
beat him
come
by
from.
decision.
Say that again.
I said it's arguably more impressive that he beat him by decision because it's just
At
like
times, yeah.
there's no question at that point.
Right. And it was dominant.
It was dominant.
Yeah. What were we talking about? We were talking about
The Gaethje. So you think Gaethje should get the title fight against Topuria?
yeah, okay, so let's go into that. I think Gaethje should get that title fight. Or sorry, no. My bad. Paddy should get the title fight against Topuria. Let me kind of lay it all out. It's been like this whole thing that's been going on, but there's a new development today that proves my point even more. So I believe Paddy should get the fight against Ilya on the simple merit that, bro, these guys faced off in the octagon. Paddy's another one who's undefeated in the UFC. These guys also have that beef from UFC London like 2 years ago. Like, it's all written in the stars. It's everything is there. The whole package is there. Then you got Gaethje, okay, who's basically, you know what a chit is? You ever heard of that term? A chit
No,
is like a
but
favor.
I can assume.
It's a favor.
Yeah,
He's calling
dude,
in
he
his
is.
favor for getting flatlined by Holloway, right? Because he knows the UFC owes him for that. Because the UFC came begging for that. He said no. They showed up to his house, and he's like, okay, fine. He gets a win over Fiziev, and he's calling in the favor. I just find that unethical when it comes to a title shot. Like, favors cannot be exchanged for title shots, bro, off of one win. Like, we'll bump your pay. Like, we'll pay you like $1 million if you want to fight. Like, that just we just found this out today. They offered him Paddy Pimblett, apparently, and he turned that down. 2 weeks ago or last week, Armand revealed he turned him down too. So again, how is Justin Gaethje, who's calling in his favor, who's also turning down Armand, turning down Paddy, the UFC cannot give him a title shot? I don't care who reported it.
Whose only wins are against Rafael Fiziev in his last 4 fights, and the other one's
He's on a
losing.
1-fight win streak.
He's on a 1 fight win streak.
The
Dude, it
one
makes
before that, he got
Paddy
knocked out by
Pimblett hasn't
Max.
lost in the UFC. He hasn't lost in the UFC. He's the most Topuria Pimblett right now, outside of maybe Makachev Topuria, is the most promotable fight that you can make across all weight divisions, point blank, period. There's actual real world beef, which sells. Both guys are unbeaten in the UFC. They're in the premier division, the lightweight division. Topuria is coming off of flatlining Oliveira, who then went on to beat Gamrot.
Real
It's
quick,
just like
people actually think Paddy can beat Ilya. Nobody thinks Justin can beat Ilya. It's that
No
same
one.
thing we were just talking about. If Ilya beats Justin, he ain't beat nobody. Another old guy, another over the hill guy. So
there's
give him
that whole
fucking
narrative.
Paddy.
It's like, who have you beat, right? And
Yeah.
and again, I get, the UFC has actually done pretty in recent history has done well by older fighters that have been credentialed. Look at Stipe getting the John Jones fight, right? Like they did Stipe a favor. I don't necessarily think they ever needed to make John Jones Stipe, but they did. And where Gaethje kind of seems to have a good relationship with the matchmakers and Dana and all that, I do think if this comes down to it and Gaethje actually does get the title fight, number one, it's almost impossible to argue that that's a more promotable fight than Topuria.
It is
Pimblett.
impossible. I was actually going to bring it up and be like, can you tell me, aside from the fact that Justin Gaethje, because the only comment I see in favor of Gaethje is like, he's earned it. It's his retirement fight. It's like a pity. It's like giving him it out of pity. Like, I don't care that it's his retirement fight. Like, that's not enough to give it to him. So tell me, right? Because that only benefits Gaethje, and it's just kind of seconding what you just said. But it's like, tell me one reason why this fight is better for the UFC promotion, right? Take Gaethje out of it. Tell me why it's more lucrative for the UFC to put Gaethje in there instead of Paddy. Or tell
It's
me
not.
why it even makes more sense.
In every capacity, from a viewership, from a money standpoint, from
a
an
merit
entertainment
standpoint?
entertainment. You're going
Yeah.
to tell me that a Justin Gaethje creates a better build up for a
Absolutely
lightweight
not.
title fight than Paddy Pimblett in Topuria. It's impossible to make
The
the argument. I got
UFC, I'll stick this in right now. The UFC could not even make any more promotion for Ilya versus Paddy. They could not make us. They could book this fight today, not make a single promotion until the fight, and it will have better promotion already built in than they could manufacture with Gaethje Ilya. And I'm talking about the fucking water bottle. I'm talking about the press conference face off. I'm talking about the tweets and shit like that. Like they've already sold it. They've already
the
done more
TikTok.
than they could ever
Yeah,
manufacture.
the TikTok edits from the UFC fan base would sell the fight alone, like point blank, period, right? And you don't have that with Justin Gaethje, who's I don't think his chin hasn't been there for years, in my opinion. Like I, just, I have no idea how you can argue otherwise. I went to war, like I died on the Pimblett Taporia Hill because there was, if you remember, let's rewind like a month or two. Originally, there was three people in this conversation. It was Armin, Pimblett, and Gaethje, and I was actually arguing for Armin because I'm a
Okay.
purist, right? I think Armin does deserve a title fight, and then eventually they gave him Hooker, and it was like, okay, he's got to beat Hooker in order to get back into the title conversation, and
Simplified
that
it a
leaves
little
two,
bit. Yeah.
and that leaves two, and when there's two, and it's Gaethje and Pimblett, there's no argument, dude. There's no
Especially
argument.
when you hear that Gaethje turned down Arman for
Yeah,
UFC Qatar, because it's like you really expect the UFC ain't no bitch either, bro. They will do
no,
you a
they're
favor, but
not.
this is what I'm saying. Like they're saying, like, look, we owe you a favor, but it's not. It might not be the favor you demand in a title shot. We'll give you. I think this is what should happen. They should just pay him fuck you money, and shut his ass up.
Right, and he wants to. It seems like Gaethje's content with retirement at this point. Like he's it sounds from the mouth of Gaethje, he's
The
only
gold.
coming like he's only fighting for a title fight,
But
right?
pause real quick, right?
Yeah.
Why not, right? Because I'm telling you right now, they're not going to give him the title shot. He's almost negotiated himself in a perfect scenario. Let me lay it out for you. I just realized this. So he's been begging for this title shot. That's what the UFC thinks. So it's like, okay, fine. I'm not going to get what I want. Then pay me extra money to fight a lower ranked guy. I mean, Gaethje's not going to beat Ilya, right? And he's not. And what was I going to say? If they do give him the title shot, they're not giving him a pay increase. So you're telling me that
Correct.
he can fight a lesser skilled guy and make more money, and you're turning that down to make less and get knocked out, you're just for a chance to win the title that you're 90% not gonna win?
Well, dude, and also think of the upside. Say in some asinine scenario, Gaethje does beat Topuria. What is the upside there for the UFC having a 36-year-old champion that already wants retirement?
Yeah.
So it's like if this guy does get the title fight, number one, what I actually think is going to happen, I think the real world scenario here, Armin smokes Hooker. They make Gaethje Hooker. Gaethje beats Hooker, gets and does get a title fight. In which
Later
case you
on, like
could maybe argue for it
2026.
in mid to late 26
Yeah.
if Gaethje accepts. And if he doesn't, he's going to either sit out for a winner of say it's Topuria Pimblett. Yeah, I
Then
have no
then
idea.
okay, it has more merit then. You got a
It
second
has more
win.
merit then, right?
I'll let
I
you
can
have
maybe
it.
get behind it then.
Right, but like right now with Patty 2 standing in the way, like let's say it was just between Armon and Justin, right? And it didn't have all this Patty stuff. I'd be like, okay, you know what I mean? Let's give Justin the favor. You know, Armon did the UFC a little bit dirty. Fuck him. You know what I mean?
Right.
A little
Yeah.
bit low key. You know what I mean? But Patty ain't never done nothing wrong. He's the golden goose right now. He's the biggest blue chip
Yeah.
prospect. Like he's not an Armin. Like, you know, a favor cannot trump all the stuff that comes with a Patty fight. Patty got a country
100%.
behind him, bro. An
Yeah,
entire country.
easily. And dude, I don't necessarily know if I'd be having this argument for Pimblett unless he had to have dished out the ass beating that he did to Chandler in the way that he did because Pimblett, you're a whatever massive fan, you know the chin up in the air thing, the striking kind of looks sloppy, great on the ground. Um, but his last fight against Chandler was like an ass beating of epic proportions.
He
And
beat
it
the
was
fuck
it
out of
was
him.
crazy. It was crazy. So that was the first time I watched Pimblett and I was like, okay, this dude's a real player. Like he's very good. And so yeah, I don't know how you can argue against it at this point. Make the fight. Make the fight and you also do paramount the grace of making a massive fight in your first, card on the deal. And you make them happy.
Definitely. And so a couple more things on this topic because it's such a big topic, and I've been breaking it down on solo streams, but I figure I'll kind of like run these ideas by you too. It's like Ilya is such a big star. You just said it. The two biggest fights in the UFC right now, they both involve Ilya. Ilya already has one set up with Islam too on the back burner. That shit's ready to go. That's already cooking. This
Right.
guy's crazy. And so Ilya's worth is so high, he would be a fool to just let the UFC say, like, even worst case scenario, if the UFC does give Gaethje this shit, this is what I've been saying too. Let's say UFC folds and they give in to Gaethje, bro, then it's on Ilya, bro, to turn that shit the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like, Ilya is such a
Yeah,
big
easily.
star. You
Easily.
cannot just be like bossed around by the UFC anymore if you're Ilya. You gotta demand your worth. It's right there for the taking. You just even said it. You know?
I mean, the guy's he's a full-blown global superstar. He's 11 million followers on Instagram. Did you see the video of him going back to Georgia this week?
I did,
Dude,
yeah. There's
people were
that
carrying
iconic
him
photo.
on. They were carrying him on their shoulders.
I love that
like
photo.
around
I
like
love
a
that.
prophet.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
which is insane.
I
Like,
saved
that's
it
the
because it
dude-
looked
that's
like
the
a
dude
fucking
you want.
Michael Jordan type thing.
It's
like
crazy.
A screensaver.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. And so you're entirely right. Like you need to there's the argument of giving Topuria Gaethje to build Topuria further, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an easier win. So it's like, all right, just give him the like lamb to slaughter, give him Gaethje who's chinless, and we'll have a competitive first few rounds, and then Topuria walks him down, and the stock goes up for Topuria. Maybe there's an argument.
A little
I
bit.
still don't like it.
It's such a small argument. And what I would say too is like, okay, fine, Gaethje, you want to be Mr. Turn It Down, right? You want to be Mr. Turn Down. Okay, fine. Well, then I hope Ilya has enough presence of mind to be like, okay, fine. Send me Gaethje's name real quick. No.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
exactly.
why can't
Which
Ilya
is-
do that too? Because then
And
you're
dude,
gonna put him back into real quick, and then let me know. But it's like, if Ilya does the same thing, let's say UFC goes, okay, fine, fight Gaethje for us, and then Ilya goes, no, I'm not gonna fight Gaethje. Then they go back to square one, and they're like, okay, Gaethje's supposed to fight Paddy for an interim or something, but
Yeah.
Gaethje already turned down Paddy. But maybe,
Right.
thinking out loud, maybe Gaethje would say yes to Paddy if there's an interim on the line, but probably not because he already got the interim and he threw that shit on the ground. So we know that doesn't mean shit to Gaethje. He wants the undisputed.
And there's also, dude, there's an element as well where there's no longer pay-per-view points going into the Paramount deal. So it's like, that means one of like, well, first off, only champions, like retaining champions, get pay-per-view points, from my
Right.
understanding. But when you have the resume in the name value of Gaethje, it's like, how do you compensate? What more money do you compensate Gaethje to take that? And is he worth that? Is he going to sell that much? Or are that many people going to tune in?
Right.
And I think it's unequivocally no. I think it's unequivocally no at this point.
I think
All
too that if you're
respect and
giving him
love to Gaethje.
the undeserved title shot, they're not giving him a pay increase.
No, dude, no,
Yeah,
exactly.
so definitely not. They're not giving him a pay increase. That's the favor. And in my opinion, take the fucking money, bro. You're taking the harder challenge and more brain damage for less money. At this point in your career, bro, it doesn't even matter. You're a living legend. We all recognize.
Stuff your pockets.
Stuff your pockets. You got a couple more.
Yeah.
Fuck it. But
Stuff your
Gaethje's stubborn,
pockets.
bro. This is the guy
Yeah.
who wiped off his UFC logo, and people conspiracize that it's over the Onyx deal and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Because Trevor Whitman wanted to do a deal with the UFC
with the gloves, right?
with his gloves, and UFC didn't want it. It was because last year, remember, they were doing the new glove, right? That they did away with already.
Yeah.
And so the rumor
the
is that
old
Onyx
gloves
was
now?
in negotiation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Dude,
but Gaethje
that whole thing was insane, and they
ain't off
turned
it.
down Whitman's design. Rogan, I don't know if you were tuning.
That's
into
where I
Rogan.
got the whole thing from.
He
Yeah,
doesn't
Rogan
shut
exposed
up
it.
about fucking gloves, dude. It's like,
Yeah.
shut up about the gloves, Rogan. We get it, dude. Trevor.
He's like,
Whitman
no,
made-
Trevor Whitman's are the best. It's
Yeah,
like that's
he's like,
maybe one of the
"Alright,
few
man,
things
like,
I'll agree with
We get
you
it, dude.
on.
He made gloves. Yeah. So whatever, but
Somebody else goes, well, off the back, I like his takes. That's Jew. So hell yeah, Jew. Thanks for letting us know. I want to see a fight with Ilya. We built him up already. Yeah, dude, we built him up. Like we all are demanding it, and I think we're gonna get it. The crazy thing is, though, this is where I just kind of let my logic overtake bullshit that I hear, and it's not bullshit because this is a legit reporter, right? I think it's Lerte Viana or Lerte something. He's the one who reported Ilya versus Gaethje is in the works. And as soon as he put that shit out, like maybe that night, that evening, I put out my clip where I'm like, fuck no, it's not. I don't care how credible you are. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I don't care. Like, this just doesn't literally like make any sense whatsoever. Like, you can report this, you can be credible. but I'm gonna still go against it just off the simple merit of the fact.
100%. And yeah, dude, there's so many reporters now, like
Yeah.
how many people really have inside sources at this point? And when it's the UFC's premier division, which is the lightweight division, it should be
Mm-hmm.
the heavyweight division, but it's just like heavyweight's talentless outside of the top five.
Yeah.
But so like the mainstay in what's brought eyeballs to the sport over the last 7 years or so is just like the killers that are at lightweight and the entertaining fights and everything. When it's the UFC's premier division, and it's the Toporias of the world,
Mm-hmm.
in the Pimbletts and the Gaethjes of the world, that news is going nowhere until the UFC announces it through Dana.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it's just that's usually kept under lock and key when it's like a mega fight, like the Makhachevs, Toporias of the world, the Pimblett Toporias of the world. Like those fights don't go anywhere until it comes out of the mouth of Dana White.
Yeah.
Whereas like the other, smaller fights can get leaked.
Yeah, and what's crazy is like I said, this guy's pretty credible. He's not known for missing on his reports, but this is the year I've noticed of a lot of misinformation. So this year, a lot of people are getting tips even, and I think it's like setups. Like this guy's credible, right? And he reported this. I think he got set up low key.
Yeah,
I
dude,
think
crazy
there's some
cat.
setups that are going on in the air of MMA space right now because I've been seeing it. There's been remember there was Movsar versus Pico got announced, and then it like got pulled
Yep.
back, and then it got re-announced. Like there's been multiple fights that have been like announced, and then they either don't happen or it gets announced for a different event.
It's all, dude. It's all metrics farming. It's just people looking to gain a following, and like they know that's going to gain leverage on social media, so they'll post it without any truth to it, or
Mm-hmm.
without any like even there's so many. I forget the name of the account, but there's been so many different
Well,
accounts.
there's
I think
Ruben
that Ruben
Carter and shit
Ruben
like
Carter
that,
kid,
but
dude. Yes, holy
yeah,
shit, that's crazy. Like he's built an entire. Here we are talking about him though,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like it fucking worked. Like you can spew bullshit all you want, but here we are talking about Ruben Carter
Mm-hmm.
because he just professionally misled people.
The Kev dude too, who I don't even like to name, but
Oh my
I'll
God,
drop him
dude.
real
God.
quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, crazy
Okay.
cap, dude.
So to go on, let's just kind of go over the title real quick. We covered Paddy. So let's kind of go UFC Vancouver, and then if we'll definitely make time for UFC 321 preview. Even though we kind of touched on it, and then whatever fun topics we'll kind of just like run through before we end the show. But we've been going for like, let me see how long we've been going. How long you got, by the way, just so I can kind of, because it's the first time. So
Whatever, dude. I'm on your time, man.
okay,
I'm
you're
done with
chilling right
work for
now.
the day, so yeah.
Okay, I think the fans are liking it. So, but so off the top of my head, I got some thoughts about UFC Vancouver.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so I think first off, Dan Miragliotta with that crazy stoppage. This is my biggest take off of the event. So again, I'd love to hear what you got to say about it. The biggest thing I'm noticing is like, and it's happened multiple weeks in a row. So if you notice with Neil Magny, I'll start all the way back with Neil Magny and that submission, right? The referee makes a bad call. Neil Magny says, "No, I'm good. Let's continue." The referee says, "Oh, okay, never mind. I made a mistake. We're good to go," right? But here's the thing. What if, and I'm not saying this happened, but I'm saying what if, because it's about what ifs a little bit here. What if Neil was actually out cold and he just convinced the referee that he wasn't? What I'm trying to get to is that instant replay should be the ultimate deciding factor when it comes to changing a referee mistake. If a referee calls something, that call should not be overturned or changed unless an instant replay basically allows that, right? We go to the instant replay just like in football. Super simple, right? You challenge a penalty, for example. So that's that. We didn't do that with Neil Magny. You got anything to say real quick?
No, it's just, dude, we're in 2025. Like that should be a no fucking question thing.
Right.
Like point blank period. Sports are adapting. MLB's taking like the pitch counter into play, like the AI pitch strike zone.
Yeah.
Like sports adapt. And on fight ending sequences, you're supposed to be able to have access to instant replay. So
Right.
it's like,
So even
why are
follow
we? What? It's crazy.
right.
It's
So follow me
crazy.
on this one where it's like because this is where my attention is too. Luckily, it was the right call and Neil Magny wasn't out, right? And it was the referee's mistake. But it's like that's why nobody paid attention because it happened to be the right decision, right? But what if it wasn't the right decision? Then everybody would have been on it. It's like we can't just ignore shit just because the right thing ultimately happened. We still need to draw attention to it. You know what I mean? Because it was handled wrong on a fundamental basis, like at the beginning of it, at the root of the cause. And so
Right. And
fast forward,
there's
bear with
go
me
ahead.
for a second. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Fast forward to this weekend, right? We got Kyle Nelson and Matt Frevola. This TKO stoppage, right? Essentially, Dan Miragliotta calls the fight with 3 seconds left in the round. Now, once everybody gets up, Miragliotta goes, "My mistake. I thought that the round ended." Well, then, again, we should go back to instant replay, okay, and find out, okay, nope, there was 3 seconds left on the clock. You made a mistake with all the things that were going on as far as Kyle Nelson almost having him out and you robbing him of 3 seconds of punching, right? An already severely injured Frevola, you robbed him of 3 seconds of punching. We're calling it. It's a TKO. You made the mistake, but you also robbed him of the opportunity to finish the fight. It should have been replayed. They should have seen that the 3 seconds was still on the clock and instantly called it. But they didn't. And then you get the Kevin Holland, right? So bear with me all the way to this because this is the full circle moment. And then you get the Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott issue, right? Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott nut shot. And finally, they find a use for instant replay. Finally. For the most bullshit reason ever, to tell whether or not the nut shot was intentional or unintentional. Now, please tell me. I've already said this, so the boys in the chat probably already heard this before, but I gotta tell you because it's too much of hot fire. Please tell me in the history when anybody has deciphered that a nut shot was intentional. You can never prove it. It's always
Never.
unintentional. But for
It's
some
always
reason,
unintentional.
we're using instant replay to tell whether or not a nut shot was intentional or unintentional, which you ultimately say it's unintentional. Like you
Every
did
time.
every other fucking time.
Every time.
But
yeah.
you won't use it for Neil Magny. You won't use it for stopping the fight with 3 seconds left. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? And where is the precedent in any of
There's
this?
no, dude. If there was a uniformity in it all, too, maybe there's like some sort of, I don't know, some sort of excuse that could make it make sense, but it does not make sense. And then, dude, you take a look at, I don't know, you take a look at, you got to put a human aspect on this as well. You take a look at Kyle Nelson, for example. Like Kyle Nelson is never going to headline a pay-per-view. All respect to Kyle Nelson, right? Whatever. Good, good dude. It seems like a really good dude. But
Nice
this
guy,
guy
yeah.
is going to be like a career dude that's probably on the prelims. Maybe he makes a main card on fight night, whatever. Kyle Nelson is now robbed out of the potential of a $50,000 bonus because you go to decision after finishing a guy. You full blown finish him.
I was
Like,
calling for that finish like 5 seconds before he even stepped in anyway.
dude, the finish, the stopping sequence was late.
It,
They let
it was
Frevola
already
take too
late at
much damage.
that. Yeah. Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, dude, it's this whole thing. But I think it was it Jason Herzog that stopped the Jake Matthews Neil Magny fight? I think it was.
I think. I forget the referee.
But like he had awful. First off, Jake Matthews put Neil Magny out. He thought he was limp, but Jason Herzog got bailed out by the bell because it was right there. Like he stops the fight, and as he's doing it, the bell goes off.
Right. He did get saved by the
Bergliotta
bell.
called it, dude. You said 3 seconds, dude. It was like 5, 7 seconds before he stepped in. It was like steps in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bell goes off. I was
Okay.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that asinine, dude. Just so insane that you can get away with that. So insane that they restarted it. Call it a no contest, if anything. Don't call it a no contest. It's a TKO win for Kyle Nelson. But it's like, man, crazy
And then
that they
Frevola lost
restarted.
anyway, and this guy was definitely
Yeah.
concussed after that first round.
Yes,
And I know
like-
Frevola wants to fight. It's nothing against Frevola, but it's like Frevola was concussed, bro, and you just made him take more damage for another 10 minutes. Do you think that's good for his future? He lost regardless.
Regardless. He was never going
Regardless.
to come back and win that fight. Yeah. I don't
And
know,
yeah,
dude.
somebody should step in and be like, hey, hey, no. Referee, you made a mistake. We're calling the fight. Like, there's no official above the referee, it seems like. There's supposed to
Yep.
be. They say there is. But where is he on fight night?
Yeah, it's supposed to be. So I believe all refs and all judges fall under, like, so this would be like, I don't know the name of it, but it'd be like the Canada Athletic Commission. So it's like whoever's top dog at Canada Athletic Commission needs to then step up and be like, this fucking fight is over. This is
Yeah,
over.
because you did this, and
Matt
this is,
Fabola's
you
knocked
know what I
out.
mean?
Matt Fabola's unconscious on the octagon, right? On the
Right,
octagon floor right now. Like, what are we doing? Someone needs to step up. And I don't think it can be the UFC because they're the promotion. I don't think they have that jurisdiction. I think it has to be the commission that
right.
steps in, from my understanding.
No, yeah, and they
So,
just need to take their job more seriously, I guess. But it's this new thing where you only pop up in their city once every like 8 months,
yeah,
so they're not super prepared for everything, because
yeah,
it's not. Maybe it's because it's not like Vegas, but that shit with Neil
yeah.
Magny, I think, happened in Vegas. No, was that
That
in a different
happened in
city?
I think that happened in Perth.
Okay, so there you go. Again, when it comes to these
Yeah.
international cards, that's one of the issues. I think they're just not, refereeing these events on a super consistent basis, like the commissions.
Well, well, the NSCA, Nevada State Athletic Commission,
Yeah.
is like known as the premier commission. That's why, dude. Like Dana always actually talks about this. That's why, like they always say it's like the whatever it's Sin City and in like fight capital of the world, yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
They actually host it there because they have the most like robust athletic commission, and they know for both for boxing, for MMA, for anything combat sports related, like Nevada State Athletic Commission is the like the cream of the crop from my understanding. So it's
Right.
like no shit they want to host big fights there because if and when stuff like this goes down, they have the best athletic commission to rely on.
Right, and that's why even like I think New York has been wonky at times after they
Yep.
after
Yep.
they did their because it was illegal, right, for all those years. And so when they
Yeah,
finally
MSG
legalized it,
like
there was a lot of fucking speed bumps because they're just wonky. They're not used to it.
2016, dude. Eddie Alvarez McGregor, I believe, was the first MMA fight in the state of New York.
I think
I
so,
believe.
right? I don't
Yeah, I
know.
think so.
I'll give you
Uh,
that.
yeah, which is like I think it is. I
Hmm.
think yeah, I think so. And they're a newer commission, so it's like, but they keep going back there, right? Like every November is the MSG card now, so
Right.
I don't know.
It's like a
Interesting
tradition.
stuff. Yeah.
So to wrap up UFC Vancouver real quick, couple of questions I'll give you real quick. What are your thoughts on Kevin Holland? Real quick, thoughts on Kevin Holland?
Just as a fighter in general.
Fighter in general, maybe even mix in Mike Malott with the nut shots. Like, how did you view that
Yeah.
whole thing?
I
Point should
tend
have
to
been taken
point 100% should have been taken. They took a point earlier in the from Drew Dober
on the first
for two for,
offense.
for two. That's like another thing that goes into the like you take away a point from Drew Dober. Mike Malott just did the same exact thing.
I
I
would
bet Mike
support
Malott
taking
too.
points on the first offense.
Yeah,
I'm in support of that.
I'm a support. Yeah, dude, I'm in support of that too. They always say the first warning comes in the back, right? And
Yeah.
that's nothing but the truth. So, um, Kevin Holland. Listen, as I said, I tend to view things a lot from a betting perspective. I refuse to place hard-earned money on Kevin Holland at this point because he's so unreliable in every sense of the word.
Every sense.
More reliable at 170 than he is at 185.
Definitely.
But at the same point in time, it's like if I'm a Holland better, I'm infuriated that he just doesn't take the no contest because you lose money at that point. So it's
Hmm.
like Holland, if you're that much in pain, I get that you want to fight. I get that you're a warrior, all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. Like a loss on a record is a loss on a record, man. When you're 3 fights away from this, no one's going to remember that you got kicked in the dick, dude.
Hmm.
Like you're going to have to live with that L. So it's like, I don't know, man. Yeah, I get the idea that you want to fight. Malott also said, did you see Malott's interview? He said that he hit the hip.
Yeah, I see
He
him
said
a
that
lot kind of like downplaying it, but I guess it's not for him to say, right?
yeah.
Because this
Because
is what I would
if you're in the
say.
Malott corner, you want,
Kevin shook it off the first time. He was a real good
right.
sport about it. He didn't even take more than 30 seconds the first time.
Yeah.
You do it again, bro. Don't be telling him how to react to it.
Dude, and Malott was fearless after that. He kept on throwing the kick up the middle, like right at the shorts line,
Yeah.
the line of like the belt, which was like, dude, like Mike Malott, you're gonna lose by DQ. What are you doing? Like, stop doing that, man.
Yeah,
Stop doing that. Hit him in the head. Like, what are you doing?
I feel you.
So,
No,
yeah,
and I like
crazy.
Mike Malott too. By the way, there's nothing really against him. I thought he had a good performance. I thought he had a. It was very like conservative, but like every
Yeah.
shot he threw was with conviction and like it had meaning behind it. He wasn't just out there bullshitting around. The win, you could tell he was fighting like the win meant more to him than it meant to Kevin in a way.
Well, wins just don't necessarily mean anything to Kevin at
They
this point.
they don't
Like you
necessarily.
need, dude, the UFC needs Kevin Holland. Like you need the Kevin Hollands of the world, the Charles Johnsons of the world, who's been super active. Like you need these guys that have name value that show up and scrap. Like
Mhm.
and are willing to step in on short notice, like you name it. Those guys are so valuable to the promotion. Kevin Holland is so valuable to the promotion. He just doesn't necessarily value wins in the same way that a prospect like Mike Malott, who has a relatively untouched record, would.
Hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, dude, Malott. Say what you will about the Neil Magny loss. That was bad. He kind of got caught at the bottom and gassed out. But since then, like he smoked Radke. He looked great against Trevin Giles, like really calculated against Giles. And then now he has this win, which has an asterisk next to it. But hey, dude, by the way, I know you're from LA. His
Hmm.
brother plays for the LA Kings, the hockey team. Do you know
Oh,
that?
is it the LA Kings? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
he
I know
plays
he
for the
plays for
Kings.
hockey teams though in the
Yeah,
NHL.
yeah. He was in a
Okay.
fight of his own on the ice a couple weeks back. So
Oh
pretty
hell
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say one other thing. Oh, I would almost just be just random thought. I'd almost be down to see Kevin Holland fight like a Neil Magny or something like that. And then
Yeah. I
Mike
think those are.
Malott, anybody in the 10 to 15 range, you can give him.
Yeah. I would say, first off, like pick a fucking division, Kevin Holland. Like, I hate that. Like,
Mm.
pick, like, at least have some sort of uniformity as to like, because he's just going up and down. So it's hard to determine who Kevin Holland fights next. I like
Hopefully
veteran
he's locked
matchups
in
for
at
him.
70. Let's operate on that basis.
Dude, Kevin Holland at 70 is like, I just don't necessarily think he's ever gonna really lock it in. But if he did, he's so good. He's so good, dude. Like so, and he has the exact body that you would want from a fighter. Long, rangy, still carries power. Yeah, I would like, dude. I don't know. I would like maybe like a Michael Chiesa or
Oh
Neil
yeah, yeah,
Magny
but you already
or
beat
like.
him.
Did he beat Michael Chiesa?
Yeah,
Did he? Oh yeah, he submitted him, right?
submitted him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah,
Holy
you got to
shit.
give Kevin like these gimme fights that aren't super like high pressure because he does kind of fold to the pressure too. He doesn't like
Yeah.
these high profile names. Like Mike
Or you give
Malott, he
him.
pressured him. Like I feel like it's more so like you look at Mike Malott, you look at Kevin, right? There's not that big of a difference between them. Like they're probably very evenly skilled. But Mike
Right.
Malott, the win means more to him, and it's like Kevin that gets in Kevin's head in a way. Like Kevin, like when he lost to Derek Brunson and shit like that, or Kyle Dawkins. Like anytime these fights where it's like Kevin looks bad if he loses to this guy, Kevin fucking loses. Like he can't
It's
handle the
crazy.
pressure of being a favorite or something. Wonder
It's
Boy,
not even.
Wonder Boy.
Yeah, Wonder Boy, dude, I remember that. That was like the last. That was the last fight of the year. I remember that clear as day. It was like of 2023, maybe in Orlando.
Yeah.
And he did, dude. He does like. I think I think it's weirdly maybe an ego thing for Holland, where it's like he doesn't want to show off that he cares too much,
Mm-hmm.
and so like he maybe has this weird thing where it's like if I overly commit and show how much I care and fail, like people will think differently of him. Where it's like I don't necessarily think that's the truth.
Softening the
Maybe
blow, right?
exactly, right? It's
Yeah.
softening the blow. It's like, oh, I didn't give a fuck in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a built-in cop out, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think he's maybe doing himself a little bit of a disfavor because he is talented and he's still young. I think he's like 30, dude. You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Definitely. I read this comment just here. I don't even know what it means, but Tyler Betts goes, "Yo, say it ain't so. Ice got our boy the co-host."
Oh, they're talking
Ice.
about like because DJ MTK is Mexican, so they're saying he got deported.
Oh.
I think if I put two and two
No,
together, you know what
that's what
I
it is. Because it's
mean? Yeah.
Ice Cube, though. That's why I didn't get it. But the fact that I said Ice to you, it registered in a different way.
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
what it is. He put a fucking Ice Cube. I'm like, Ice? What the fuck, Ice?
Man, dude. Hopefully you can get back in the country, dude.
Bro,
Like,
Tyler Betts always has the wild things to say. You gotta love it.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's kind of like what's next for Malott and shit like that, and a Kevin Holland. Now, and Kevin Holland, I think it's more mental than anything, and that's kind of just what we got done saying. It's probably a little bit more mental. The ego has something to do with it. Maybe Rampage is right. Maybe Kevin does have a little
Yeah.
bit of an ego problem. You know,
Right. That was a weird interaction, dude.
very
Super.
weird.
I didn't get what he was saying about shooting guy. It was so weird. Like
That's Kevin
Rampage.
though. I think he was just in a bad mood. He was like, "I'm gonna just say whatever I want, and I don't care if you understand it." And that's exactly how it came off. Like only you and
Yeah.
your inner circle know what you're talking about, Kevin.
Right.
Or
Yeah,
you
I
gotta
think
elaborate.
yeah, I think we're coming off like also Kevin Holland like haters. I'm a huge Kevin Holland fan. It's just I
I
wish he
love
would.
Kevin. See,
Yeah.
it comes off weird for me too because I love Kevin, and I even say like, hell yeah, Kev, dropping down to 170, 170 Kev, the best Kev. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
he sells the fight right during fight week. He's wearing the headband. He's Neil Magny 2 steps behind me. Mike Malott is a step behind Neil Magny. Like he says
Yeah,
all the cool things. He always goes viral, and then you go in there and you just do not swag on him like you swag throughout, all fight week.
I know.
And I
Yeah,
don't think it's a skill at disadvantage. And I feel like that's paying him a compliment. I'm
yeah,
saying I think you and Mike. I don't see why Mike is the better fighter than you, Kevin. I think that it's more mental going into it, and hopefully you can fix that because there's nothing wrong with the skills. You got
I
all the
know.
advantages, but for some reason
I
it's
actually,
not clicking.
I think it's weird. I wouldn't necessarily do. I actually wouldn't hate to see that fight again. Like they'll never do that.
Yeah.
But I would love to see like someone thoroughly win that because I do think that's actually a winnable fight for Holland. I think on any
Even
given night,
JDM.
anyone at 70 is a winnable fight for Holland.
Definitely, because he
Yeah.
has a lot of the advantages. But even look when Holland fought like JDM, like that went to a decision. But now JDM's the champ. It's like so weird when you look at Kevin's wins and losses, and then Kevin goes out and like arm bars Oleg Sachek. It's like you
It's
literally
like
cannot make sense out of Kevin
insane,
Holland.
dude. Insane. That's like I remember being all over Olazejczyk in that fight too. Who came out so like because Holland got dropped before
Hmm.
that. I don't know if you remember it, but like I'm so unnecessarily obsessed with Michelle Olazejczyk. Like I have these
Yeah.
weird niche fighters that I love. Like I never fade them, and Michelle Olazejczyk is just happens to be one of them. And I remember being like betting him and being like, okay, and he smokes him, and I was like, I knew it. And then Holland just pulls out the armbar. So
Crazy.
infuriating, dude. He's so unpredictable.
Okay, the last thing I got about UFC Vancouver, then we'll touch on the what's it called? UFC
321.
321, just some hot topics if we got any. Um, UFC Vancouver. So I pretty much called it. I was on the stream, right? And I'm saying I called it because Rainier de Ritter made a statement today. Let me read that real quick. So this will be
Yeah,
the topic.
something about his body failing him.
Yeah. So this is kind of like what de Ritter said today in his first statement. de Ritter goes, I was not the best fighter in the cage Saturday and it stings, but next to all the crazy highs, I am also grateful to experience the lows. So many people go through life at a constant 6 out of 10, but as a fighter, we get to experience the full set of options. If we have shared the mats, I tend to work more and harder than anybody else, but over the last 2 camps, I might have exaggerated a little bit. I was so focused on getting that title and being ready once the chance came that I failed to listen to my body, and last Saturday that showed. I shall not stray the course, but Daddy is taking some time off, kids. Daddy is crazy coming off an L.
Yeah,
I was not myself,
daddy's
but I will be
insane.
again. He's still calling himself Daddy.
That's
He
wild,
goes,
dude.
if you know
Hey,
me, you know what I'm coming for. Be nice out there and see you soon.
dude, I'll say this: like, if you're in the camp of Renier de Ritter, that risk is worth it.
Hmm.
Like coming in the way that you did, having a very active schedule because he's 35 and
Hmm.
he's starting in the UFC at 35. He was a one champion and you have a resume, I get it, but it's like get in the UFC and immediate if you're gonna be a champ, go for it immediately.
Hmm.
Immediately. And it just I picked up on as I said, I laid a crazy wager on Allen. I think that the Allen grappling got so slept on. He's a very good grappler. And I think we saw it. The number one thing that I said heading into that fight was that Brendan Allen's submission defense holds up. And I thought it would hold up over the course of like 3 rounds. Like the Ritter would have had the same round one that he did in round two and round three. And then Allen starts to pick it up and gets a late TKO.
Hmm.
Just because we saw RDR fade so much against Whitaker and it just didn't happen like that. Like he had 1 round of cardio, but that's bad and
Yeah.
bad, but worth the risk because you say you pull it off, you're fighting for a fucking title, dude.
Yeah.
At 35, 5 fights in your UFC stint, and you came in a year and a half ago. So it's like, take that risk,
Yeah,
worthwhile.
definitely. I don't look down on him for taking the risk, but going into it, I was kind of saying, I was like, look, I think that de Ritter, a lot of people aren't speaking about the activity. The activity could play a factor, and here he is admitting like I was a little bit too active, right? And so it's just kind of he played his cards right, I guess you could say. Maybe honestly, here's what I'll say. I'll give a devil's advocate. Maybe in hindsight, maybe with the power of hindsight, he should have not been so much in a rush to fight again and basically steal Imavov's spot, right? Imavov been earned that. There wasn't really a situation where if RDR beat Fluffy, in my opinion, he should have gotten it over Imavov anyway. So it's like maybe he should have just delayed his fight 3 or 4 months, That way, Imavov is guaranteed next for the title shot, and then it's even more clear that you're kind of like after Imavov, like in hindsight.
100%. Yeah, no, I
Like
don't
the
think. I
activity
think
was
you're
good, but maybe the quick return on this last one might have been a little bit too much too soon.
definitely. Yeah, I don't think there. I think you're entirely right in saying that there was almost no argue. I think making a title fight at 185 in whatever October of 2025 that does not include Nasruddin Imavov is so crazy at this point.
Insane.
I thought he was deserving after the Brendan Allen or not the Brendan Allen
Izzy.
the what was it?
Izzy.
The Izzy fight. Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought because Izzy, right? You look at we just had this whole conversation with Pimblett and Taporia and everything, but Izzy's the name in the division. He
Right.
is like you look at it's probably Izzy and then Hamzat. Maybe Hamzat now that he's the title challenger, but at the time the name was still Izzy.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't beat Izzy, you fucking smoked him in the
Smoked
second
him.
round, knocked him out cold. And yeah, I don't necessarily know how you don't give Amavov the title shot, even with a De Ridder win. So it's like if the argument is giving your body a rest, well, you had the built-in time to give your body a rest because they're not going to give anyone else the title shot but
Right.
him. But that's Monday morning quarterback,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Because say
With
he
the
goes out and
hindsight.
maybe he goes out and submits Allen in the first round,
And they
in
might
which
have.
case, in which case, then people have the argument of, well, again, I don't agree with it, but people do
Right.
have the argument of, well, Nasruddin only beat Baralhio by decision, and he's not as entertaining. And RDR is a former champion. He smoked someone in round one. It's like this
You
whole
already
thing.
know DC and Chael are gonna debate that bullshit on their fucking
Right.
show on
Exactly.
Monday. It's
Yeah.
like DC, don't
100%.
fucking give that shit any airtime. We know it's Imavov, but DC
Yeah.
loves to ride the fence.
Easy. Yeah. 100%. And like, I say props to Renier de Ritter. I love gambling. You took the gamble. Props to you for putting it on the line, dude. At
Props.
35, you
Nothing
got to
bad
do
to
it.
say about him. And I also said
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with throwing in the towel. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
didn't quit. His
Normalize
corner
that.
threw in the towel. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I think some of it's getting clouded because he had quit in one championship. So a lot of
Yep.
people were quick to be like, oh, he did it again. He did it again. I think if he didn't have that situation in one championship, they wouldn't be so quick to say it. But it's just that it's a little bit of a narrative. It's like if if Ryan Garcia's dad does a corner stoppage or something like that in the future, he's probably gonna get the same bullshit because everybody thinks he quit against Gervonta Davis.
Yeah, I think the people chastising RDR is like maybe the quote unquote quitting coming from him as opposed to his corner.
Yeah.
Like I also say normalize throwing in the towel. I think people should throw in the towel if they're convincingly down 2 rounds and it just doesn't look like a competitive fight. It's like why let your fighter get the shit kicked out of him more? This is real life implications, dude.
Yeah,
That's not
100%.
that's
Life
not a thing in the
points. That's what I
NBA.
always say. Life points. That's what you're playing with.
Real life points,
Life
dude. Real life
points.
points. So it's like, if you can, if we're talking about someone's health and wellness and being able to communicate with their kids when they're, 55 years old, look at fucking Chuck Liddell, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Chuck Liddell right now, who can barely put a sentence together.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if he had, people that really cared about him and threw in the towel more often instead of letting him get knocked out fucking cold, however many times in his career, maybe he could communicate a little better. Maybe
Let
he can
alone the
like
gym wars and all that other irresponsible
the
shit he
gym
probably
wars
got
and maybe
into.
he has a better quality of life. Like that's a real thing in combat sports.
Oh, definitely.
Like
It's one of my favorite
CTE.
things to kind of like harp on too. Because
Yeah,
nobody fucking wants to harp on it. Dana White hates it when I do that.
yeah, and so I would say you don't want to see it from a fighter because it's just like it can get labeled as quit, but you do also, in my opinion, I want to see corners take initiative and like
Yeah, do that. Don't
say
make your fighter
do
quit. If you know your fighter wants to quit, then just do it for him, right?
do it for him,
No big
do
deal.
it for him, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because then
so
just save him the chastising, you know what I mean? Don't make him quit because then he's going to get chastised. So just do it fucking for
exactly,
him.
yeah.
And
So
if you care about him, you'll throw in the towel. I think you see a lot of people throwing towels when they actually care about the athlete. I just remembered this one, but Chael Sonnen threw in the towel for Colby Covington. Now,
right,
even just set aside all Colby's antics, the fact is Chael cares about Colby. That's like his little brother. You know what I mean? Or you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Chael threw in that towel when it was clear Joaquin Buckley was beating that ass.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it does need to be normalized. It should be normalized from corners. And then you also put your fighters. I don't know if you remember this from way back. This is like 4 or 5 years ago, but there's this guy named like Max Rapulso
Max
or something.
Roshkov.
Do you remember this?
I
He
know
was
who you're
like he
talking
was
about.
he was he was sitting in the corner. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this
And the
anymore. And
coach is like,
his
"Nah, do
corner's like,
it."
his corner's like actively trying to convince him to keep fighting. They're like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, don't quit. Like, you're going to be a champ, da da da. If the fighter says it, throw it
A
immediately.
thousand percent.
Throw it immediately, you
Yeah,
know?
thousand
So,
percent. This is the
yeah.
last thing I got on it. I find it crazy that Brendan Allen got ranked number 5.
Okay.
What's even crazier is that Fluffy goes up to number 4 from number 6, and then RDR goes below Fluffy. It's like, dude, Fluffy, the one who didn't fight and pulled out, and Fluffy got the win over. Like, Fluffy's above RDR and Allen now. In my opinion, Fluffy should be below RDR.
Yeah, I think you got to rank Fluffy above Allen because he's beat Allen twice. He beat Allen on the regional scene. He
That's
beat
the
Allen in
argument
the
people are
UFC.
saying.
Yeah, so you got to. In my opinion, you beat a guy twice, and you're on the run that Hernandez is. I think I rate him over Allen just
Mm-hmm.
because of the two head-to-head wins.
Mm-hmm.
You got to throw you. What is Allen's at 5? You said,
Allen is at 5, Fluffy's at 4.
and then what's 3 DDP?
Uh, 3 might be, or 3 might be Imavov, right? Or DDP. DDP or Imavov, yeah.
So DDP's then at 1, and then because he just, I mean, you got to put DDP in, you got to put Imavov in, you got to put Hernandez in. Hamzat's a champ. There's one other guy in there that we might be missing.
Izzy
Let's
is
see.
below, I think Izzy's below Allen now.
Yeah, Izzy shouldn't be in there.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like not in the top 5, dude. No way. He's 1-4 in his last 5. He's only won one fight.
Yeah. So I don't know where all the rankings kind of like what their theory was with all of it, but I think RDR2 getting pushed down so low like that, like I think RDR is like number 8 now.
Yeah. Man, I don't know.
And he was at number 4. So they put RDR down 4 spots. There's something wrong with that in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google this real quick.
Yeah. Let me know what it is.
Um,
Actually, I have it on my Instagram too. Let me see. So Strickland is number 3. DDP's
oh
oh
yeah,
yeah,
that's who we're
we're
forgetting.
yeah.
So we're forgetting Strickland. Yeah. So I mean, Strickland's on 2 back-to-back losses to DDP, and they still got him in the top 5
Yeah.
because Strickland went what? Strickland went what? DDP loss in the title fight, win over Paulo, and then DDP loss again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the rankings up? Where do they have Paulo?
Paulo is number 13. So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Is Vittori still in there?
Vittoria's number 14.
Okay. Yeah,
So
it's
okay,
interesting.
here would be the other argument. Because there are people who say, yeah, but Anthony beat Allen. So you're definitely not the first person who I've heard say that. But then I think the counter to that is like, I just had it in my head. Damn, I might forget it. Oh, here it is. Do you think that like what do you think about, beating the guy and taking his ranking? Because I think that was the
I think
argument.
that's how it should go, dude. Maybe I'm just too straightforward.
You think that's how it should
I
go?
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. If you fight a guy, like I've never understood, for example, Cheeto was number 5
Mm-hmm.
this weekend, and Zahabi was like 11, I
Mm-hmm.
think. Eamon beat Cheeto at 5, and now he's like at 8 or something. And Cheeto is like at 9. And I'm like, if you beat the 5th ranked guy, at what point does like the number mean anything if you're not taking it?
Yeah.
It's just like a totally arbitrary number that you just slap on someone.
And it
And
makes it more
this is where
confusing, right?
yeah, this is where Dana gets pissed because he hates the ranking system,
Yeah.
and he was talking about bringing in AI ranking system, which I don't hate. But the
Uh-huh.
rankings right now are all created by a body of journalists
Yeah.
that all vote on the ranking, and then from there it's determined. It's like
It's like Wrestling Observer and shit. I was on stream last night, pulled it up. Bro, like 5 of them aren't even like MMA names.
yeah, it's like
Like
yeah,
Wrestling Observer, I'm telling you.
yeah. I don't. Dude, the ranking system has never made sense to me
Yeah.
ever. Um,
This will be a
I
side
honestly
note.
think dude, what I enjoy about like the progression of the UFC is like the fact that it's kind of become more clear as to like how to determine where things are going just based
Hmm.
on the amount of fighters that they have and like the more publicity that they get, it's just like people understand more. Like I never understood entering into this. I was like, why is so and so being matched up with this person?
Yeah.
And in the more clear they make it, I think in the more like systematic they get, the better the fan base is going to be because it's going to be easier to follow.
Winners
Like
with winners, losers with
you need to make it dumb
losers.
simple, dude, you
Yeah.
know? Because people don't understand. It's a confusing sport a little bit.
Definitely. That's what I think that's one of the things. This is a confusing thing, so I won't get too deep into it, but just on a simple basis, that's one of the benefits of the Ali Act is that with
Yeah,
the Ali Act, it's just official rankings and like you go by the rankings and there's no amount of star power or other things that can like over like trump, right? Like certain wins or certain win streaks. Cuz for
exactly.
example, they'll oftentimes in the UFC choose the bigger star, right, and give the bigger star the
Correct.
opportunity over the more deserving guy. And the
Yep.
Ali Act kind of like does away with that, and it's just a strict rankings basis. Who's higher ranked, you get the opportunity. You know what I mean? There's
Correct.
never a case where number 3 is going to get a title shot over number 1. You know, but in
I
the
know.
UFC that happens all the time.
And that's where like boxing kind of gets confusing now with the Jake Pauls of the world coming in. Like Jake Paul actually has an official ranking
Mm-hmm.
in one of the 500 boxing promotions that there are now. But like, I don't listen. I'm not a huge boxing guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tune into like the biggest fights each year, and other than that, I'm kind of lost on the whole thing. But
Mm-hmm.
that's where I'm interested to see if Jake Paul is to like try to legitimize himself, it's not through fighting 135-pound Tank Davis.
No, it's
Like
not at all.
money fight, right? Great money grab.
Go fight a
No
ranked
one's
boxer at
fight
your
around,
weight class.
man. That's your age, you
Like
know?
enough's enough already. Like we've
Exactly.
seen
Like how
enough,
many times
bro.
are we gonna do this song and dance, you know?
It's been like
So
what 12 fights or some shit like that.
yeah, crazy. Like
However
and it's
many.
all like you're fighting Nate Robinson and who's, 5'7" and Tank Davis. Like this is crazy. So
Insane. Okay.
yeah.
Couple topics we'll hit. Do you have anything sticking out to you about UFC 321? The only thing I'm really got written down as far as little hot topics for the card is Gone getting out of the first round, is Gone being overlooked, or if you got any headlines from media day that you saw that I haven't that don't stick out to me.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think number one, the most highly touted belt in the sport should always be the heavyweight belt,
Hmm.
right? Like that's the alpha.
That would
The
be the
heavyweight should
best case
forever be the
scenario.
alpha. And I think for a long time, since the contract disagreements between the UFC and Ngannou, we haven't had that guy at heavyweight until Tom Aspinall entered the equation. And I think now in 2025, we're sitting in a spot where it's like, not only is Tom Aspinall alpha and the best UFC heavyweight, I think he's the most complete mixed martial artist in the sport.
Hmm.
Period. I think he's that good, and that's a great thing for the UFC. It's a great thing for the sport. Um, I do think Gane's being overlooked. I think Gane is extremely talented. I think he's shifty. I think he's forever going to have problems with stuffing the takedown. Who knows how much he's worked on that? Mixing that in with being a Netflix star now. The guy's in Netflix shows in France.
Yeah, I've been
Um,
seeing that.
I think Aspinall wins. I think it's hard to argue against that narrative. The only loss that the guy really has is breaking his knee against, you know, Curtis Blades. Um, if there's a guy that could get out of the first, it's probably Gone just based on his fighting style and being able to like be shifty,
Hmm.
be light on your toes, stay away from Tom because he's got
Right.
the touch of God and he can take you down and maul you.
I think he's got
So
at least good enough striking to get out of the fucking first.
yeah,
At least I'd hope, bro. I want to see
yeah,
Tom test it a little bit. That's my biggest thing.
definitely. And I think if a Gone win happens, everyone's going to be pissed
Yeah.
because not because well, yes, because the stock value of Tom is gone. The idea of Aspinall Jones is gone, but it's also, I just think it's going to be the most boring fight ever where Gone just keeps distance and picks away.
And
That's
like
his
Tom
only,
can't
that's
get a
his,
takedown.
and Tom can't get a takedown. I think that is the only path to victory.
Yeah.
So if Gone is, so let's just say like there's any hope of Gone winning, which I don't think there is. Like I think
Yeah.
Tom's going to run through him. Then yes, it'll definitely get outside the first, and it'll probably go to decision.
Hmm.
So, but who knows? Tom's too good. He's
And that
too good.
says I think you're saying two things. You're almost saying like I'm not overlooking Gon, right? I think Gon is a good fighter. I think he's a quality fighter, right? But with that being said, I think Aspinall, there's no way he loses. So you're
He's just
trying to pay the
exponentially.
respect to Gane as an opponent, at least. I think that's what's being missed in this promotion. Is
Yeah.
people are like it's. I'd be fine if they said it how you're kind of saying it. Like Aspinall gonna run through Gane, but Gane isn't a joke. It just shows how good Aspinall fucking is, and I think that might be the correct narrative here.
There's hundreds and hundreds of unbelievable worldly talents at 140 whatever 7 pounds when Floyd Mayweather was a boxer. They just weren't Floyd Mayweather. Like
Hmm.
that's the equation I think that's going to be with Tom. I don't think anyone will touch Tom. Period. He's 257 pounds and he moves like someone. He moves like a middleweight.
Yeah,
He's that fast and he still carries power and he has a ground game. So it's
yeah.
going to take someone, number one, anything can happen at heavyweight, right? So you're either going to run into, someone that comes out swinging and clips them,
Hmm.
or Tom's just going to run through everyone. And also, Volkov should be in this fight as opposed to Gane, in my opinion, just because of how crazy the robbery was in that fight. I
Hmm.
thought Volkov clearly won that. And Tom's submitted him in the first
Ran
round,
through him.
ran through him. So
Yeah,
it's like,
do the
he's so
math.
good, dude. He's so good.
I think that it's been tough, right? With Aspinall, he's been passing all of his tests with flying colors. I was even saying, I'm like, Aspinall hasn't been tested, but not in the way it sounds. He just has passed them all with flying fucking colors, like every
Right.
test. And like the polar bear, you know what I mean? Volkov, Curtis Blades. These are like really high level, like for what is in the heavyweight division right now. These are the next best things. We haven't been able to be like, oh, like it proves he's great. If he even runs through Gone in like a minute, this is the one. This is the one. There cannot be doubt anymore. You know, if he
There's
runs
like
through Gone in a minute, he's the fucking truth, bro.
he's dude
He's
like
the fucking truth.
could you imagine, dude, the scenes? Like if he actually does do it in under a minute, it's just gonna be so
I
crazy.
feel like
Like
he might.
if there's a guy to do it,
If there's a
it's
guy
Tom
to do it.
Aspinall.
And if not,
But
I think it's gonna be not easy for him, but his skill set will make it seem easy because he's gonna go for the takedowns, mix it up a little bit. Soon as
yeah.
Gon starts second guessing his hands, he's treading water trying to catch up to Tom Aspinall. I think Tom might
Yeah.
drown him.
Have you seen pictures of Gone this week though?
I haven't. No. Is he looking good?
Dude.
Big old
He
boy.
looks like he looks like a GQ model. The guy is shredded, dude.
He's like
Out of his
250 and can dunk.
it's crazy, man. He looks like a specimen. Like, dude, Gon showed up to win this fight, But if you're getting put it this way, Gon's like, let's just talk Gon's losses for a sec.
Hmm.
You're getting controlled by Volkov, and you're getting controlled by Ngannou. You're gonna get controlled by Tom
Right. You got
because
taken
he's
down
better.
by Ngannou.
He's better on the ground than both of those guys,
Yeah.
and he's exponentially better than Volkov because he already submitted him. So it's
Exactly.
like, you know, um, great fight. Um,
So
Fight
tell
I
me
wanted to see
this.
for a long time. I like
Definitely.
there's new blood. I like that it's a new opponent for like I would prefer to see. I think Volkov is more deserving, but I would prefer to see Gon Aspinall.
I think it's got a lot of good parity, right? Just because Aspinall's been involved with Ngannou and John
Yep.
Jones, or
Yep.
sorry, Gon been involved in fights with Ngannou and John Jones, so it gives
Yes.
more talking points to this. Now here's something though that needs to be spoken about. We pretty much agree with our views on Tom Aspinall, right? We just got done saying it. With all that being said, though, right, I don't think he's getting as much credit in the UFC. I don't think he's trending as much in the UFC as like what we're making him out to be. So do you see this? Do you disagree? Or if you agree with me, then like what's to blame for maybe what I'm trying to say right now is his lack of star power despite everything he kind of has.
Yeah, I try not to, when talking about stuff like this, I try not to drink my own Kool-Aid in the sense of like being an MMA, like you and I, right? We're sitting
Hmm.
here, we were talking for 2 hours about MMA.
Right.
We're MMA hardos. We love the sport, but what's the real world thinking? Like, what's the people that aren't like
The casual
disgustingly bought
viewer.
into the sport? The casual viewers, which is what determines success, period, in the
100%.
UFC or otherwise, because that's what brings in like casual viewership is actually what determines star power. Because if
100%.
you're bringing in eyeballs that aren't inherent, like you and I, if fucking Jordan Levitt and someone else headlined a fight night next week, we
We
would
know
tune in.
it.
We know we're going to tune in, right? So the UFC knows they're going to get that business.
Mhm.
How do they build superstars to bring in casual viewers? In Tom Aspinall, you and I just talked about Taporia, 11 million followers, right? On Instagram. Tom has 1.1 million followers on Instagram. He's
Yeah.
nowhere near the superstar, and he's the UFC heavyweight champ mauling people. And
Right.
like good-looking guy, shredded out of his mind, entertaining, knocking people out in 60 seconds. Like, why is Tom not God? Why does Tom not run the world right now? And
Right.
number one, he's been on ice for 18 months because of John
Yeah.
Jones. You
Mhm.
know, that's part of the issue. And I do think he's going to be super like maybe overly aggressive. The RDR, he's going to have the RDR method after this. He's going to be so anxious to fight
Mm.
that it's going to be so frequent. And there's a lot of guys that are, that are in line that could, Jailton Almeida beats Volkov this weekend and Aspinall gets through Gone. They're going to immediately make, I think, Almeida Tom Aspinall.
I
And
think
Tom
they're trying
Aspinall
to
is
get
probably
the
going
ball
to
rolling.
run through Jailton.
Yeah.
So it's like, line him the fuck up.
Line
Line
them the
him up.
fuck up.
And the second that happens, and Tom's still young. Tom hasn't, sustained massive injuries outside of the knee injury to Gone. It's just gonna. I think it's gonna be a numbers game for Tom, where he just has to rack it up, and he'll be undeniable. I think he'll be the biggest guy in the sport.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do think what you said about being out for 18 months, I think that's really what has caused him to not
yeah,
have a
which
lot of
isn't his
star
fault.
power
He
right
wanted to
now.
fight the whole time.
It's the UFC's fault, unfortunately.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and the fact that it is ending up with Gone, it's like, bro, you're telling me we couldn't have ran Gone versus Aspinall for the interim? We don't give a fuck, bro. Let that be the defended interim title while
yeah.
John Jones is dicking around. We could have already got this one out of the way. We could have been on to another one by now, you know.
A
But
hundred percent.
now,
I actually,
I guess we're just starting 18 months late. It's like a 18-month delay. So now it gets
yeah.
to start what we've pretty much been wanting to start 18 months ago.
So why can I find this? Tom, I made that up. Ciryl Gane has 1.1 million followers on Instagram. I was looking that up today. I wanted to know where he stands. Tom Aspinall,
I'm gonna say
1.7. Yeah, so
1.2,
similar. So
1.7.
1.7. Yeah, so similar size, but it's just like
Not enough though when you
heavyweight
look at
champ.
Ilya.
He's the heavyweight champ. He should be bigger than anyone
And he has a
in the
country.
UFC.
Look at Ilya with the country. Look at these Russian
Exactly.
fighters with countries. Anybody
Yeah.
who isn't from the U.S. should have a little extra boost because of their country.
Easily. And in England, look at Paddy.
I
What
was
is Paddy at?
there. You
Like
go.
how is Paddy? Well, Paddy's got the hair and everything, and he's great on the mic. He's a little bit of a goober, right? Like
But
so,
it
like people
proves they support.
and they support, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, why, if anything, the same fan base should be hopping on Tom,
Hmm.
right? So hopefully, I'm a believer in Tom. I think he's that good, and I think he'll have that much success. So we'll see.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I do too. So, another big one for the night though: Mario Bautista versus Umar. I'm thinking from a betting perspective here. I think it's completely disrespectful. I'm looking at it on UFC. It says plus 455. That can't be real on real sports books.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I looked at it
That's
this
really
morning.
real.
Yeah,
Do you
crazy
think that's
line.
disrespectful to Bautista? I mean,
Yeah, the best. I don't know how many people are in the chat right now, but for anyone watching, I think the one of the better bets on UFC 321 is Bautista plus 5.5
mhm.
is even money, which is crazy. I think Bautista for sure wins a round. I think Umar wins. I think Umar's that good. I want to see Umar Marab too. I can't stand Peter Yan. I think he's like so overhyped.
Mhm.
People love him, but yeah, say what you will about the title fight going down in December. Um, Umar's the truth. He's that good. I don't, but Mario, man, is it eight in a row or seven in a row?
I think I'd go with the higher number.
Yeah, because he beat Patchy, he beat Jose, and then he had a win streak to get the Jose fight, right? So
Mhm.
um Mario is so slept on. Seems like a really just genuine, hardworking, humble dude. And I have a soft spot for those guys. Um Definitely not like the biggest self-promoter, quiet
Yeah.
kid. And I would love to see him cash. It's anyone coming out of the Nurmagomedov camp is a really, really hard guy to fade. And being that Umar gave Marab his toughest test thus far,
Hmm.
I think it's hard to argue against Umar. Do I think it should be, what is he, a minus 500? Like that's
You got to fade that.
crazy.
You can't go money
That
line on
you
that.
cannot take that
Yeah.
with confidence against Mario Batista. Um, and so, yeah, I'm gonna bet. I will bet Bautista plus 5.5.
Yeah, right. If you're going
Unquestionable.
money line, you got to pick one or the other. I think the smart
Yeah.
money is on Bautista, not because he's a guaranteed win, just because those odd discrepancies are crazy.
Dude,
Now,
we talked about the scenes of Aspinall beating Gane. Could you imagine Bautista beats Umar, bro, as
crazy.
a 4-1 dog? That would
Bautista's
be,
corner is going crazy.
dude.
They got
That would
to, right? His team's
that
gonna
would
go
be
fucking
so
nuts,
cool. It would be
especially
so
with all the
cool.
bullshit he dealt with Jose Aldo.
With dude, he got torched, and it's like,
He's gonna
what
erupt.
do you want to do? You're gonna strike with Jose Aldo? Like you're gonna sacrifice this massive win streak that you put together
Yeah.
to for what? Get the fucking win against one of the biggest names in UFC history. Mario Batista did exactly what he should have done.
For me, I was a little bit. I didn't even really watch the fight, so I don't even really care. But I think I've probably been on record being like, "Yeah, you fought Jose Aldo boring,"
You did.
but it is what it
There's no
is.
argument. He
Yeah.
definitely did, but it's like
In the grand
if you
scheme of
t-
things, it don't matter. You got a little shit
it's
for it, but it's already in the past.
if you want to be a fucking winner, dude, lions don't value the opinions of sheep, and all the viewers are fucking sheep, and you should be a lion, and you should not give a fuck. You should win at all costs, and that's what he did. So it's
That is
like,
kind
how
of
can you
true as
fault
far as
him?
you don't wanna base your career off of the fans' opinions because you
No,
got to go for
if
the win, right?
dude, if that was the case, Marab, no one would ever tune into Marab because he's got the most boring fight style of all time. Marab's a mega superstar now,
Yeah.
and he's just like,
But
all he
I
does
kind
is
of love Marab's style. You don't love it right now?
that's my point, dude. If Marab wasn't Marab right now and he
Yeah.
was still a prelim fighter, everyone would just be like, dude, this guy, all he does is just kind of chain wrestle and whatever. He's
Mm.
just done it to a level of success now so many times over where he's undeniable.
It
Like if
becomes
you're
more
Mario
cool when you
Batista,
do it to high level guys.
so cool,
When
way
you do
cooler.
it to these low level guys, it's kind of whatever.
It's kind of, but like Jose Aldo, high level guy,
Yeah.
you know,
But
one of the
Marab
highest
doing
level.
that shit to Umar was like crazy just because it's like, wow, we didn't even think anybody could take down Umar.
Crazy,
Here he
bro.
is getting taken down
Crazy.
10 times. That's the cool thing.
It's so cool, dude, and it's I'm under the on the Rob conversation, not to go off on a tangent, but
Mm.
like I'm under the impression that there's almost no question that he's the greatest bantamweight of all time. The resume speaks for itself, the win streak beats for itself, the name value speaks for itself. It's just what he's. I tweeted this out. I said like the single greatest achievement in the 30-year history
Mm.
of the UFC is Marab defending about 4 times in one calendar year because not only are you fighting 4 times in a year, not only are you fighting in a 4 times a year in title fights, but you're doing it against what the UFC determines as the best fighter not named Marab.
Hmm.
So it's like you do that 4 times, you do that every quarter. That's
O'Malley
insane.
rematch, and then Sandhagen, and then Peter Yan. I mean, that's pretty fucking crazy. And Peter Yan's the worst one you fought, probably,
Which is insane.
which is
Which is
insane. You
insane.
already knocked
Which is
off the
insane.
best three.
Yeah, nuts,
Um,
dude.
okay, you got any thoughts on this Nazareth or versus Quillen fight? Because it's very close odds, but people are very high on Quillen. So is that like free money?
No, my biggest bet on the card will be Hasperat money line.
Oh, okay. Any
Biggest
reasons
bet on the
why?
card.
Because I know you got those notes.
More credentialed, longer time in the UFC, better competition, better wins. We're talking about Salikot, who knocked out the Jubilee guy from India, and we're talking about him beating Ashmus, who's what exactly has that guy done? Nazareth Hasperat is going life and death with Jared Gordon and
Mm.
Esteban Ribovic, and is I think he's on a 4 fight win streak right now, but also a career UFC guy who's fought some of the best dudes in the sport. Chin for days, hasn't shown a massive hole in grappling. One of the most underrated strikers at lightweight, and has more to gain here. Because I think if Hasperat wins this, I think they rank him.
Mm.
So I think they put a 15 on him. So Hasperat, I think is a dark horse right now. Very quick striking, and Salikot, I forget how to pronounce his name, but the kid
Quinlan
is
Sal
good.
killed.
Yeah, but if you remember, you watch Contender Series at all?
I didn't watch him fight.
Yeah, so he fought this guy Gage Young, who's now in the UFC as well, and he won. He won by decision, but he showed like a lot of really low IQ moments in terms of the grappling, and
Mm.
I just I don't think he's going to be able to get Hasperat down and control him. And when it ends up on the feet, I don't know if there's many strikers at lightweight that I take over Nazareth. We just saw him. I mean, he fucking tuned up the last few dudes he's fought, and they were close fights, but it's like they're very, very credentialed guys. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be all over Hasperat.
Okay, good bet, good bet, and good breakdown. He's kind of like the lightweight Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah, I say that all the time.
He
He's
always
a dude,
upsets people too. You know what I mean? Always finds
crazy
a way to get the
chin.
win.
Yep, crazy chin,
Yeah.
great striker, a little chunky,
Mm-hmm.
like
No abs,
great.
but it's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of
But
the
his
lock of the
his
night.
physically he's looked better lately. Like he doesn't have
I was gonna
the
say in his
like
picture right here, he got like it.
he's got
He got a
abs.
couple abs. Yeah,
Yeah.
he got a couple. Um, anything you want to say about the card before we get out of here? I got like one question to ask you, maybe two, just some random
Um
ones, real quick.
no, I'm actually happy you brought up the Hasperat fight because I wanted to give out one play and that's it. I'm gonna give
Okay,
out Hasperat.
hell yeah. I was
What
gonna
else?
ask you, or sorry, something to say?
I think Walter Walker runs through this guy that's debuting as
Okay.
well, and then the Chris Barnett thing, which we already talked about, who's on his last leg, literally. So if you want those are what I would suggest.
Okay, some plays then.
Yeah,
All right. I want to ask you. We don't have to go too deep and too heavy on this, but hmm. Let me ask you. Trying to find one that would be like good conversation. They're not that great of conversation. You got any thoughts on
dude,
that Moneyberg guy?
dude, I was just about to say, this guy, dude. You sent me that earlier, so I kind of did like a. I really haven't tapped in because I knew it was just gonna piss me off. I was like,
Yeah.
this guy. He seems like a used car salesman a little bit. Like I don't know. Everything about him is just a red flag, dude. Like the guy. So did you see how the thing that stuck out to me the most was like him talking about how he gained his wealth. Did you see that clip?
Yeah.
He said he started a dating business
Or he
and that
didn't
he,
own
he
it, but he worked in it.
he worked in it and then he said he made $50 million in like investing or wealth management. It's like and then he went to like Chicago School of Business and this whole thing. It's the black belt makes no sense. Realistically, this it screams ex UFC fighters needing money
Mm-hmm.
and agreeing to wear his merchandise, hand him a black belt so that they could cash a check. The Jake Shields of the world and the Lyoto Machitas and whoever else is in there. It's like, Frank Mir is one of them. It's like these guys aren't probably swimming in cash right now. All
Three
respect.
hundred thousand dollars he's paid to Jake Shields. He claimed
300K.
that's how much he paid for his black belt from Jake Shields. 300K in
Yes.
lessons.
That's crazy, dude. So, but dude, put yourself in their shoes, man. Put yourself in Jake Shields' shoes, who has no career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get he's trying the podcast thing. This guy's never going to fight again,
Yeah.
And some guy comes along and you're in retirement, your options are limited. He's like, "Hey, I'll pay you 300K to hand me a black belt on camera." Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think Ariel used a
No.
good word. He's like, I'm uncomfortable watching this stuff because exactly what you're explaining. You're watching these athletes be exploited by a grifter,
It's
right?
crazy.
He's nothing but a grifter. Like what we said earlier. Maybe we were on air, maybe we weren't, but he identified that this is the fastest growing sport in the world, and he grifted over to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
As a way to appeal to authority. He could never do this in the MLB, the NHL, the
ever.
NBA. The UFC is the only place you could ever do something like this. And yeah, he's exploiting these fighters for being broke. And the crazy thing is, too, I heard just some inside stories. I heard that, like, the way he gets them to put the shirt on, too, this is just kind of something I'm
It's
putting
so
together.
weird.
But it's like he promises them money, right? And then when they come
Yeah,
up to his place, he's not super friendly. Like, I already heard stories. They go up in an elevator, and he doesn't say a word. Like when he comes
that's
up and
so
pulls
weird.
up on them in the apartment lobby, when they go up in the elevator, no words are said by him. He doesn't like comfort you or anything like that. And then so obviously you're feeling on edge. He's promised you money, and then he just kind of throws you a shirt, and he's like, "Here, put this on for the show." And because it's not a friendly atmosphere, you're like, "Fuck! If I turn this down, do I not get the money? Like, I might as well just put this on." So he's a very like weird, manipulative guy.
Dude, he's whoring out these ex
He's
UFC
pimping them
fighters
out and shit like that.
who's
And
like
these
who are in precarious. Dude, it's no different than like you. Yeah, I
It's
do.
bad
I don't
intentions
want
from
to.
the
I don't want to talk
start.
on a situation that I'm intimately familiar with. Like I really don't know that much about the guy. But again, used car salesman is probably like the best analogy that I could give you. It's just like anything for a fucking buck for this dude. And he seems a little bit like a mental midget. Like guy's kind of fat and ugly a little
Hmm.
bit. And so it's like he's looking for any angle that he can get for fame or notoriety or whatever it is. It's like, dude, like you got to do it profiting off these guys that have had a career in, combat sports. It's like, it's just weird. It's
Hmm.
weird, man. I could never resonate because I could never find myself that desperate for fame, you know?
And he's got money.
He's apparently,
Well,
who knows?
so I was gonna tell you, he inherited it from his mom. I think. I think what
Okay,
I've
dude.
heard.
Yeah, I knew. Okay.
Yeah,
Do you know that for a fact?
yeah, I know
Because
that for a fact.
there's like, he, 1,000%. Like, I knew because I was going to go, I looked him up and I was like, I was going to go into this whole thing. Like, first off, just because you went to the Chicago School of Business doesn't mean you're going to fucking create $50 million worth of wealth for people. And in order to be like a financial advisor in any capacity, like officially, you need to take like your Series 7. You need to be typically you're associated with some sort of financial institution. Like there's a lot that goes into being that.
Hmm.
So it's like this guy's kind of out in left field and he's like, I'm a fucking financial advisor. It's like, are you or did you place $50 million in the S&P 500 and make 7% a year and now you're claiming you made that in wealth that you
You
inherited?
put it in and pulled it out immediately.
Like what?
That's
Okay.
not profits. That's just putting your money in and taking it out.
I could get a vegetable on the side of the street to fucking do that same
Yeah,
thing.
like all you
What do
did
you?
was fucking stick it in there so that there's a
Yeah. So
transaction.
it's insane. Weird scenario. Weird that he was able to like finagle his way in to Helwani. Like it's
Yeah.
insane that he's on
Well, it's
Helwani.
a
Like
humiliation ritual. That's what I
it's
think this
so
is
weird,
too.
dude.
He's like willing to be humiliated for fame, and it's clear as day to me because he knew what he was doing with the black belt. He can say what he wants on camera, but we all know how we think as human beings and grown men, right? He's a grown fucking man at the end of the day. He
Yeah.
knows what he did with that black belt, and he was like, this black belt, getting it in 3.5 years, will be this claim to fame, this
Yep.
thing that rage baits the internet, right?
Yep.
And then I'm gonna go on Ariel's show. Not that he planned Ariel's show, but I'm just saying this is it. He's willing to be humiliated for fame. This is a humiliation ritual that he's putting
It's
himself
so weird.
through. Like he
Yeah.
intentionally knew that this was gonna happen, and he said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. It's like cucking, dude. It's super weird. I
Yeah, it
would love to
is.
see like he's suing Sean Strickland.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere with that. But this
Dude,
is
I
the
would
other
love.
thing that he does that I want to explain to you real quick. He's one of these guys. It sucks too because I used to work for a guy like this. When before I started my own channel and stuff, I like watched this YouTuber who posts like stuff about financial freedom and stuff like that, right? Like good stocks to invest in and whatnot.
Yeah.
And when I started working for him, it was a lot different than what I had noticed online. You know what I mean?
Everything is, dude.
And then
Everything
he
is.
was
Put it
also
this way.
doing stuff like what was he doing? He was working on this new thing where he can sell basically what this guy Moneyberg does, where he sells these courses, right? So you put together this
Just
thing
about to say
that's going to
this.
help
Yeah.
somebody achieve financial freedom, and then you sell this, and then you also build on it so you can once they buy this, they can buy meetings with you, and the shit's expensive. It's like $1,000, like
Yeah.
$500. Like there's packages, all these
Yeah.
tiers and shit like that. And when I noticed that, I was like, like this ain't really for me, bro. Like this shit ain't real
I
at
know.
all. And
You're
that's
you're
what Moneyberg does.
profiting.
He charges his people that. Let me just tell you
Yeah.
this and then go on. This is what Moneyberg does. He charges his people these courses, right? But this is how big of a dirtball he is. With the interviews he does with like Gilbert Burns and all these guys, right? He assigns his students homework assignments in the form of liking, commenting, engaging on his interviews. So he's farming engagement, okay? And then let me
So
tell you
weird.
this: if they don't do that, guess what happens to them?
Kicked out of the course.
They're out of the course. So
It's
they
so
drop the
weird.
last 500, $1,000 they got. They miss one or two homework assignments, and which is fucking engagement farming his video, his interview. Once they don't do that, they're kicked out of the course.
It's weird. You're profiting on people that are in worse scenarios than you,
He's a
and
predator.
it's yeah, you're a predator, and it's like you take a look at a lot of dude. There's actually no difference between a lot of professional gamblers, like right? Like they charge. There's no difference between these stock heroes and these professional gamblers. Like at the end of the day, you can't predict the future. You don't know what stocks are going to do, and you don't know what fighters are going to win. But a lot of the time, these guys essentially the subscription pays for their losses. So
Hmm.
or they're say they are still winning, like they at least have that to fall back on. Like their actual, source of income is not the product itself. It's the people subscribing to the
Yeah, they're
product.
not making money on what they're
They're
telling
not
you to
making money.
do.
Like who knows like what kind of success this guy has, and it's like it's weird. It's weird, dude. It's if you inherited $50 million from someone and you still like it's textbook not having like it's not you can't scratch the itch because you already have money and usually money is associated with fame, but when you inherit it you then don't have fame. So it's like, how do I take this money and use it as an avenue to gain fame in any capacity possible? And I think that's kind of a
And he
scenario
took
here.
the easiest avenue possible, which
Easiest,
is basically the
which is,
humiliation ritual, the rage bait.
yeah,
It's not
so
one I would take. Or
yeah,
it's like this, right? It's the easiest path, but it's not the easiest because it's not one I would take. You know what I mean? Like
right,
I'm not like that's too much for me.
yeah,
That's too
yeah,
fucking much
there's
for
a,
me. But he also doesn't have any talent. You know?
yeah. You could look at like Covington's almost like a decent example because he knows a shit ton of people are like he's just rage baiting people a lot of the time. So it's like,
Yeah, that's
uh,
another one. It's the
you
lowest
can
hanging
applaud,
fruit.
you could applaud it, but at the same point in time, it's like, oh God, man, like could never be me. I think it's
Yeah.
just a good
Or
way of
like I don't
saying
know,
it.
use it as a tool, but like don't be that. Not have that be your whole identity. Is this rage bait bullshit? You
Yeah,
know?
it's crazy.
Like use it as
Crazy.
a tool to get some views every now and then, get the numbers up. All right, fine. You know, but it's your whole identity. You're a black belt in 3.5 years at 46 years old. When BJ
Uh,
did it at 20 years old, it's physically impossible. No competition experience whatsoever. Not one single fucking match ever in history.
like the guy's so dumb, dude. It's like first off, you can't have the business success and the jujitsu success at the same time. It's just if you're claiming to do it in 3.5 years.
Yeah,
Because if you are claiming to do it in 3.5 years, you better be in the fucking gym 12 hours a
that
day.
would be your full time job.
Be
You
your
know,
full-time job. So it's like, are you a business genius or are you a BJJ black belt in 3.5 years? Because you can't have both.
he ain't either. He's a fucking trust fund
Neither.
baby.
It's
That's what he
fucking
is.
yeah. Yeah, he's a
This is the
nepo
last thing
baby.
I
So
gotta
it's
say. I
like
think.
yeah.
So his real name, right? This was just too good. I had to bring it on. Oh, somebody goes, "Ha, spot on. Can't forget he wears socks when he trains." Shout out James. Yeah,
That's so
crazy.
weird.
And the fact that the
That's
socks don't even come off shows how hard he's training. It ain't hard enough. Okay,
he wears knee sleeves too, which is just like that's the corniest thing you can do in my opinion.
insane. Like you ain't squatting, bro. Take those fucking knee sleeves
Take those
off.
things off, man.
Okay.
So crazy.
So his real name, right? Ariel grilled him on this, and a lot of people too. I've been seeing comments like, "Dude, stop picking apart his name and shit like that." But it's too good. I got to bring it to you. So his real name is Dale Bukowski.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I was waiting for something just fucking corny as hell, dude. That's unreal.
Dale
Dale Bukowski,
Bukowski. So then
dude.
Ariel
Yeah,
brings it up on the show. He's like, kind of like how I did with you. He's like, "Would you like me to call you Dale, or would you like me to call you Moneyberg, or your first name, or Derek?" And so he's like, "Oh, you can call me like Moneyberg or Derek is fine." But long story short, here's what I'm getting to. Ariel's like, "So why Moneyberg?" And he's like, "Well, Bukowski is like hard to pronounce." And Ariel's like, "Okay, that's fine. Well, then what about Dale?" He goes, "Well, then what about Dale?"
yeah, dude. Like,
And then he goes,
yeah,
he goes,
Moneybird, convenient name. Like the yeah, the guy's he's a fucking mascot, bro. Like he's clown
he's
every sense
insane.
of
But
the
let me
word.
finish telling you what he says. So he goes, "Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Like it just goes with it, right?" He's like downplaying it, the fact that he's called Derek. But here's my thing. This is what I'm saying about the guy. The fact that he had to change his name. Tell me if you agree with this or what's your thoughts on it. The fact that he had to change his name from Derek or from Dale to Derek, and then he had to have a black belt in 3.5 years, right? These are things that he wanted, right? And he has to go get it. Now you can get whatever you want in the world in this life. Like I'm all good with it. Go. People do drugs and shit like that, right? But like changing your name and getting a black belt in jujitsu, like that's just some weird shit. Like that's some brat shit. That's like literally like no, you can't change your name, and you're like a little kid, like no, like or like I don't know, you're like a
Yeah,
little kid, you think you want a black belt, and like nobody can get you off of it, even though it's like impossible to get. Like he screams brat to me.
yeah. That's a good word for it, dude. It is, and it's just like, dude. Again, it goes back to my original statement. It's like, how can you seek notoriety that bad, like that bad, if you already have people that are hyper famous, like your A-listers. They always say if you have the choice between fame and money, take money every time, and then
Mm.
try like whatever, like try money without fame. So it's like, what, dude? You already have financial freedom. Why is it this meaningful for you to be a black belt. But not only be a black belt, but promote it in the way that you do at the expense of people that are legitimate black belts. Like
Mm.
it's so crazy.
I think it exposes a big personality flaw. The fact that like even the fact of this, bear with me because this is like almost a deep thought, but it's like a quick thought. It's like, how do I say this? He wants something so bad that he's even willing to deal with all this stuff. So I don't know if it's a humiliation ritual or just like a just hyper focus on having things that people say he can't have, like a fucking little kid.
Yeah.
Because think
Like,
about it, like
yeah.
usually people would be like, I want to be a black belt in 3.5 years, and then somebody would be like, well, that's not realistic, right? The normal person would have that thought and be like, it's not realistic. I'm 46 years old. He has this weird personality flaw where he has to figure it out some way. He has to fake it some way. So if this is what he does with the black belt, imagine all the other things he's phonied and manufactured and faked in his life that he wanted to be like. Just like I'm saying, Dale is a shitty name, right? Dale ain't the best name ever. Derek is a little bit of like a boyish charm name, right? I
Yeah.
just know this guy was a young kid thinking that the world was against him and he wasn't getting no opportunities because his name was fucking Dale. When it's like, no, dude, you're just a fucking bratty ass kid who's probably
Yeah.
tubby
You
when
know
you
where that
were.
attitude, you know where that attitude comes from though?
What?
Your parents having fucking $50 million.
There we
You know,
go. Just
and
a
never, and
fucking
never hearing
brat.
no, never hearing no your entire life. You know, like never having like a real world. Dude, have you ever seen the documentary about the guy that bought his son the hockey team in Danbury, Connecticut, the Danbury Trashers
No, I
documentary on
haven't.
Netflix? So it's like this guy, he's a mob boss. His son gets injured playing hockey. He probably wasn't a fucking good hockey player
Mm-hmm.
and can't play hockey anymore. So therefore he buys him a fucking professional hockey team and makes him the manager at
Mm-hmm.
17 years old. Like that's
And he
that's the
fucked it
same
off.
scenario. It's just like, you try to buy your son's happiness. Well, if your parents have $50 million in your entire life, your parents probably try to buy you happiness because you're a little chunky guy who's got a fat barrel and a receding hairline. Then like
Right.
you're just gonna adopt that once you get the money yourself.
The parents just try to cushion you at home because they know you're dealing with
Yeah,
shit at school and all that stuff. I guess
yeah,
that's a perfect response because that personality trait I just explained, you're basically saying that's a perfect sign. Like only rich kids got weird personality traits like that, right?
it is,
Yeah.
dude. And if you've been around it, it's like you can pick up on it.
Yeah, that's why I'm picking up on it because it's like the average person who has to like I learned to accept no. It's a bullshit ass story, but I'll tell you real quick. Like when I was really young on Christmas, I wanted the Wii back in the day, right?
Yeah,
I thought my family had more money than we did. Like I thought my mom when she was saying like, we probably can't get you it. I thought she was just trying to like excite me. I thought she was
yeah,
still gonna get me that shit. On Christmas Day, I didn't get that shit, bro. And
right.
and you know what I
That
mean? I
teaches you
had to
things,
accept it. And
but that's
like
healthy, dude.
it's
That's
healthy,
healthy.
and it's clear
That's a
that
healthy thing.
Moneyberg he didn't grow up that way, because most kids do, they want something they don't get it,
Right.
and they
Yeah.
learn to accept it at a young age. This guy is 46 years old, or he was 43 when he started jiu-jitsu, and he couldn't even accept that he couldn't get a black belt then.
Yeah. It's
It's crazy.
the crazy part is it's like, did he start at 43 years old? You know?
That's just what he
Or
says.
is he just saying that? Or did he just say, I started 3.5 years ago and he just showed up and these guys, need the money enough to be like, yeah, we've been doing like, is that true?
Like,
Who
how long
knows?
did it take to get the ball rolling? Maybe your first
Yeah.
lesson was 3.5 years ago, right? But it's like, how much time passed in between all these lessons till you really got the ball rolling?
It
You,
makes no
you might have
sense.
had like 5 training sessions within the first 6 months, and here you are
Yeah.
claiming you got it, within
Yeah.
3.5 years. And you
Super
be
weird.
counting
Super
out your
weird
hours. Like,
scenario.
I did it with 3,000 hours. Like, dude, get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be curious to like, he's also never at UFC events, right? Like, have you picked up
No.
on that? He's never, the only weird, like, one-off interactions that you see. I didn't even hear about the guy until the Strickland thing.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, I don't know.
No,
Just,
he's bought his whole way on. Like he gets these fighters on, and then even like with the interviews that he pays for, I've seen them on the homepage of YouTube, like with the word ad next to it. So he buys ads on YouTube, he buys ads on his Instagram. So he really got a marketing agency, and he's like, guys, just make me famous. That's what it is.
yeah,
And so that's what you're seeing right now. But it's all fake, and it's weird because this isn't a space where you do that.
no, it's not.
This isn't a space where you do that. So that's why it's getting a lot of flack because everybody in this space just hops on their computer and pumps out content if they want to.
Right. Yeah.
You, me, I mean, like, you know what I'm
It's
saying?
crazy.
it's kind of taboo. So
Wild, weird situation, weird dude for sure.
weird
And
dude for sure.
I'm like, I weirdly, he has me weirdly like bought in on like just what's the end game?
Oh yeah, I'm tapped in. Like I don't even care that I'm pushing his name anymore. It's worth it for me.
Yeah, it's like,
It's worth
where
it
does
for
this
me to be
go? Because
invested.
there's no way it doesn't end in anything but a train wreck.
Yeah, something's happening. Like these guys are
Yeah,
turning on him. Something's happening. The
yeah,
truth will be
definitely,
revealed eventually, probably.
easily, yeah,
Jake
without
Shields
question.
ain't gonna be in his corner for very long. The second that money
No,
dries up,
dude, yeah, yeah, exactly, right,
Jake's
exactly.
gonna
And
tell the
like Jake
truth.
Shields, he's not one to bite his tongue. So it's like
No.
when the truth comes out, Jake Shields is for sure he'll air it out.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to all the boys who tuned into the podcast. Shout out to Joe. I am Saturday. Go tap in with him on X, YouTube. You got Instagram?
No,
Okay.
just
X and
X.
YouTube.
Yep.
Okay. X
No,
and YouTube,
just
but
X.
mostly
Yeah, just tune
X.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, tune in, and then we'll work on getting Joe on more often. So we got a new host for the show. We got MTK who's out this week. We got Joe on. So yeah, look out for Joe in the future too. All
Hell
right,
yeah, dude.
boys.
I
Anything
appreciate
to
the
say?
invite. Really cool meeting you, dude. And thank you so much for your platform. Awesome conversation.
Yeah, for sure. If
All right,
people
bro.
tuned in late as well, just rewind to the beginning because Joe kind of told his story a little bit. It's a cool story, so everybody rewind to the beginning if you haven't already. All right, boys. Peace out,
Right
and
on.
you stay on.